liberation. Meditation's a revolution. Hip-hop is in.
It's so fabulous, charting lyrically, spiritually. Zionism, anti-Babylon, Zionites, poetry, weaponry.
Yeah.
Hip-hop is anti-system.
Kama mshumaa moja, dunia nzima yenye giza na eneza mwangaza. Hata kama ubao yanikaba, mawazo ya hela yanizunguka akilini kapopela. Mawazo kunitoa maskini, nakosa na cheki chini kwa zangu akala. Kila magabala vile na ishi na try to survive now. Wish one gave when you mad. Hali yangu way the ground, hakuna dalili ya hakunitoa kwa hii situation serious. Why you na funny? Yale nilidhani wangeniokoa, sio dila hope waliotumaini sijanoa. Kubaa kumekuwa wasi, fase kukasi na endelea plus. Mawazo ya homelessness ni more than stress, na stressika na chekidini na changanika. Kusilimika kuokoka, nimechoka kufilisika spiritually. Zionist poetry kuni free, ghetto fabulous, no fly out of slavery. Kimentali
It's so fabulous, charting lyrically, spiritually. Zionism, anti-Babylon, Zionites, poetry, weaponry. Hip-hopism, anti-system.
wazaliwa mtaa, nightmares na kani, ndoto ni za vile watawaipata. Go minds kabla wa grow old, vanity souls za vijana kuwa sold. Wakuu wa Afrika kuvunjika guu, kashoti majuto mjukuu. Maskota wanavote, maskota wanaendelea kusquat. Election bila liberation, Western hypocrisy ni confusion, Babylon democracy ni illusion. Tuna hangaishwa na ocean waves, mamesaya wamelala kwa board. Hii silence loud sana kwa masikio zangu, siwezi keep quiet. Street boy, nongea ukweli mashahidi wangu, mahasla wa chini ya dala, Mislam dwela na cross fingers landlord akibisha hodi na wisha rudi kesho ama kesho kutwa mwaka ujao kama jasho zangu sajalipa, niko almost kwa mapipa, uchumi kanilipa bila breakfast lunch supper. Sili happy hapa mtami rapa, kijana kopa nimekuwa nikieneza ya kuangaza, mitaa inaumiza, njia wapi na uliza wapi niliteleza, jeni tanguka, jeni tainuka mina. Majeshi kadhaa wa mtatu na trod haya haski shujaa. Mafabao, watu uwe, watu zike, wajaribu kutusahau. Uko fulani maumao, tukumbukwe milele, kasoli ya Kimathi usisahau. Tuna trod na rebels wote wenye cause, Kimathis, Che Guevara's, Marcus Garvey's, Street Bicos, Eyo na Mandela's, uko fulani maumao.
So fabulous, charting lyrically, spiritually. Zionism, anti-Babylon, Zionites, poetry, weaponry. Hip-hopism, anti-system.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Woza bana rada yo.
Yes,
mkofiti?
Yeah, kabisa.
Mnasound kama mkofiti.
DJ
nini?
Ndio alikurauka.
Anyway, karibuni sana kwa Gift of Gab.
Yes,
your number one hip hop talk show hapa Power Radio.
Yes, sir.
Tune in, power up. Na vile unaona keja leo imejaa.
Yeah.
Kuna wazito hapa.
Kwa ceiling kumejaa.
Mnaona vile tumechafua hapo? Mambo leo itakuwa moto.
Stoko iko.
Sijui kama mliona posta mkajua tuko na nani leo. Wacha tu introduce tu.
Mweka non spotlight naitwa Mondi Ochuka.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, mostly najiendelea ka educator mini mode.
Okay.
Inafunza economics na statistics. Besides that, I'm art enthusiast.
Alright.
Yeah, so mini poet, mini writer, mini visual artist, me paint. So
Okay.
I just generally love art.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Further than that, I'm also a father. I'm a cancer survivor and advocate.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo ni mtu strong.
Unaweza sema hivyo.
Na wewe unajiintroduce huko?
Sasa after your intro bro, unaweza introduce man. Hiyo intro ni mrefu.
Ni refu.
Anyway, I'm your co-host DJ CJ.
Yeah.
Today we are happy to be hosting our brother, a very good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Interesting how these spaces always work out juu nakuja kurealize manze Omondi Ochuka tumekuwa in the same spaces bila kujua vile tu hatukuwa tumejuana. And he has a very amazing story.
Kweli.
As you can see hapa mbele tuko na album 5 zake.
Tano kweli.
So ukisikia msee akisema ni educator, si educator tu mbuku. Msee anafunza mpaka ulimwengu. Ni ule msanii mwenye ameamua kukua kioo cha jamii, si choo cha jamii. And we are very glad to be hosting him on Gift of Gab. Gift of Gab is the show that we showcase the hip hop stories that are alive in this country.
Yeah.
Na vile zina relate na our day-to-day life. Na our tagline is, this is the show where you have the freedom to the art of expression.
Okay, leo pia tunabonga juu ya SHIF, the Social Health Insurance Fund, yenye inakam kureplace NHIF.
Ndio hapo sasa.
What it will mean to cancer patients.
Yeah.
Sasa Ochuka, nimesikia umesema wewe ni cancer survivor. Enyewe ni fighter.
Nashukuru man.
Yeah, hebu tuanze hapo.
Moral. Sasa wewe hebu anza iriba.
Tuanze story.
Tuanze tu story. Sijui tutaianzia wapi, ni vile
story.
ulianza ama
Tuanze tu hapo ndio tuende tu back and forth pia
back and forth.
tukiguza pia line yake ya muziki kidogo hapa kule.
So I think tunaweza anza vile nilikuwa diagnosed. Pia mi nilichukua na wares juu.
When was that?
It was a Friday, 11th of November.
All right.
So after Daro, unajua vile wasee uchapaka gumzo pale after Daro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But then ulikuwa mode.
Hii niko
no, hii bado niko undergrad.
Okay.
Niko
Uko
first
campo.
year.
Uko
niko
campo sasa.
campo,
Alright.
Niko first
hiyo
year.
ni
So
kampo gani?
nikulikuwa UN.
UN big up sana.
Yeah. So tuko pale tunachapa story after class. I think ilikuwa around 5:20 PM jioni.
Yeah.
Alafu nimecollapse ile nimechiu blackout kabisa yani.
So
Marifu alikuwa anasema jo like what's up tufanye nini, wakaita ambulance ya chuo.
Yeah.
And then ndo nikapelekwa Aga Khan.
Alright.
So hiyo jani yote nilikuwa unconscious. The last thing I remember ni kufeel a sudden kuna heat wave fulani nilikuwa na feel kwa mwili yani.
Okay.
Alafu nikambia one of my friends alikuwa anaitwa Farah.
Yeah.
Nikamwambia Farah mimi si feel fit. So
Alright.
that's the last thing I remember kusema na kufeel.
Yeah.
The next time nikiamka it was on a Saturday and I'm in a new environment na unachiki naka strange.
So umefaint on a Friday.
On a Friday.
Alright.
Unconscious nimepelekwa hosi Aga Khan.
Right.
And then nimeamka the following day.
Okay.
So unajaribu kuradanisha but unajua it's a new environment.
Yeah man.
So wananishow by the way uliletwa hapa na your school.
Yeah.
You don't look okay. We are trying to run some tests tuone what's up with you but you don't look okay. Have you been sick? Nikasema jo hapana mimi nimekuwa fiti.
Okay.
Hata sikuwa na like any fever or any symptom. Mimi nilikuwa tu fiti all.
Kuna mahali palikuwa panauma hata. Okay.
Yeah, so nilinishika na wasiwasi kabisa because if you're a healthy person and all of a sudden you're in the hospital and you're in the HDU,
the questions must be so many.
Questions are so many,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But when I relax, tuna run some tests and then the doctor will come in the afternoon.
All right.
So doctor akikama afternoon anasema but there you look pale, you look jaundice. What do I do jaundice? It's a disease of the liver. Inafanyaga watu wanakaa yellowish.
Jaundice. I've heard that
Yes.
with kids.
Yes, it happens a lot with kids, but
Yes,
if you
yes.
have some particular failures, especially enzymal in the liver,
Right.
kwa maini usually inakufanya unakuwa pale because the liver ama maini inafanya a lot of work.
Yes.
For example, detoxification ya kutoa sumu kwa body,
Yeah.
kupurify blood or make blood. ion combination like inafanya a lot of work.
Yeah.
Most of them ziko based on homeostasis like ufanya body inaka balanced.
Okay.
So when it has an issue inafanya body pia iko na rada yake chafu in some way.
Okay.
Yeah, so doki akikama after akambia we have our own guesses but we have some questions for you.
Yeah.
So of course if they suspect jaundice or a liver cirrhosis, another disease, or a liver dysfunction,
Yes.
watakuuliza kama if you're drinking,
Okay.
or if you've ever used any narcotic.
Alright.
So that's what wajaribu kurule out.
Yes.
It was very hard for me kuwa convinced I drink because I have never been a drinker before. I don't drink even still now.
Okay.
So it was hard for them to rule out, like if I was telling them the truth, which is usually happening ukiuliza patient.
Yeah.
As a doki ukiuliza patient, sometimes maybe they feel shamed or they feel responsible for their situation.
Yes.
So haezi come clean about it, anasema but they wasidu hivyo.
So the shame side of society also has a contribution to this.
Yes, because also for a long time we used to know,
Yeah.
not just think that cancer is lifestyle oriented.
Very true. Very
So
true.
it means you cost it in quotes. Unaelewa?
Kabisa.
Na with time tuna move forward towards more accurate diagnostics. Unaweza jipata na cancer na kuwa na hiyo lifestyle disposition.
True.
Yeah. So waliniambia top of their list is a liver disease.
Okay.
The liver for watu wanakulaga maini, it's very soft.
Yeah.
Tender sana.
Yes.
So when it has either liver cirrhosis ama jaundice ama liver disease,
Yes.
it has blisters. Ikuna vidonda tudogo.
All right.
And that means it can't perform its function very well.
All right.
Yeah, so waliniambia it's not looking so good from the first scan they did. Of course, I realized they were holding some information and that got me even more worried. I was like, mazee, it's here now. There's nothing I can do anymore.
Mnani manage.
Yeah.
Kupeleka na rada the first time.
I got a bit angry about it.
Around that time, are your family members already in the hospital?
No,
You're still alone there?
I'm still alone.
All right.
Yeah, I think for me nilikuwa najaribu ku protect most of my friends na my family.
All right.
I didn't want them to worry about me because one thing at this time I also it's a story 10. I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
My daughter was born premature.
All right.
So at that time I was a single father. Nilikuwa naishi hapo next to kwetu hapo Hurlingham.
Okay.
So during daytime nilikuwa naenda chuo, nilikuwa namwacha na one of my helper, nilikuwa naitwa Mrs. Wasike. She passed on 2 years ago, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
So Mrs. Wasike alikuwa ananishikilia nikienda chuo, and then jioni I'm a full-time father.
All right.
So my daughter needed a lot of care because alijaliwa before time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of responsibility on my end, and then also me being I was raised by my grandma, so sikuwa nataka kumweka kwa hiyo rada kama sija process information.
Yes.
So but ideally my diagnosis came the following Thursday. It was on a 17th.
So you've been now in the hospital for almost a week now.
For almost a week.
Right.
That's when they finalized and they said, I remember when they called me and they were telling me, do you have somebody unaweza ita tuambie hii story juu it doesn't look so good.
All right.
So it will be good to have like a support system. Nikwambia, I can take it. Yeah, so wakanisho you have liver cancer. The good thing is it's stage 2.
Okay.
The reason why they said it's a good thing because most liver cancer, saratani ya maini, mostly inapatikana in late stage or end of life stage.
All right.
Yes, one, because it's very hard to diagnose.
Yes.
And 2, it's very aggressive.
Okay.
Mostly zikiwa carcinoma, it's very aggressive.
Yeah.
So unapata watu wanapatagwa late sana wenye madoke, they tell you there's nothing they can do.
Okay.
So for them to diagnose it at stage 2, that was like a shot of luck.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hii journey.
So wamekuambia hii story sasa.
Yeah, so wamenishow hii story.
Now, kuna issues kadhaa nimekuaga nazo na especially these big hospitals. Umepelekwa hosi. Do you have insurance at that point?
Yeah, hiyo time nilikuwa na insurance. Nilikuwa na work Chase Bank.
Okay.
And nilikuwa also na work online. I think that's the time around 2011 online working was entering into the Kenyan market.
Okay.
So I was able to actually take care of myself. So I had an insurance. Actually, I remember back then I had CIC.
Yeah.
And I also had NHIF. And also school was covered. Remember,
Yeah,
colleges
yeah.
we usually have an internal.
Yes,
I think University of Nairobi had a cap of 50K.
Yes.
So if you use 50K, that's when you start paying on your own. So I could say that back then, when I got diagnosed, I was lucky because
that was lucky for you.
a lot of people, when they get the diagnosis, first of all, they don't have any insurance coverage.
Yes.
And then number two, most of them come from very poor, low to middle income households.
True.
So they can't be able to even afford out of the pocket pay. Wanaweza lipia hiyo do kivyao.
Yeah.
So ulianza treatment immediately?
Sikuanza treatment immediately. That's also the other very funny twist because first of all, it took me a lot because that year was very tough. Let me run it a little bit back.
Okay.
We had twins.
All right.
And we didn't anticipate we would have twins with my late girlfriend.
Okay.
I'll come back to that. But our daughters were born on 15th of February 2011.
Okay.
Around 7:30.
All right.
Yeah, so when they were born, my eldest daughter was stillborn. Kwa watu wajui stillbirth ni mtu amezaliwa kama hana uhai.
Yeah.
So they were born dead. So then the other one, like I told you, they were born at 7 months, 3 weeks. So that's a premature baby.
So they have to go to the
nursery and neonatal care.
Yes.
So walipelekwa neonatal. So I remember kuna moment nilikuwa nashika toi wangu.
Yeah.
They were very tiny, so I could hold them with 2 hands.
Yeah.
One is dead and the other is fighting for their life.
Yeah.
So you don't know whether ukwe joyful because usually when you have a child, when your child is brought to the world, you feel happy.
Very true.
Because there's a piece of you outside in the world.
Yeah.
So it was a very difficult moment on 15th.
Yeah.
And even the day before, because we didn't know that my girlfriend would make it. She had sickle cell. And the pregnancy, I think, complicated a lot of things with her sickle cell.
All right.
And it might also have contributed to the premature birth.
Yes.
So that was a very difficult moment for me. I'm young.
Yeah.
I have a dead daughter. I have one who is born premature, and I have a sickly girlfriend.
At that point, are you working?
Yes, I'm in school. I'm working also. Yeah.
Okay.
So my girlfriend, Nikki, passed in August 23rd.
Yes.
And then in November, I get my cancer diagnosis. So you can see that 2011 was such a very intense year for me. Ilikuwa ngori. I wouldn't lie. Yeah. So I think nimeoffer background ya
I get where you're coming from. So you're still a new father. Still dealing with coming to terms, and I know how it is for guys to now come to terms with it and adapting to a new lifestyle.
Yeah.
Alafu diagnosis ndio hii. What do you need to deal with before you get your headspace to a point where sasa unaweza fikiria treatment itaendaje?
Moze ameuliza treatment.
Yeah.
I think I always tell people, like, nakumbuka most of the times when I've shared my story, watu usemaga, mazee mimi nikiko kwa situation yako, mimi nitajitoa. But I realize it's never that easy. Yeah. Like human beings have this capacity to adapt so well. You would not imagine your power. I'm telling you.
I believe
I'm telling you. Hata all our listeners, if you're listening, wherever you're listening, and you look back to your life, kuna moment ulifikiria, I can't do this.
Yeah, but you're still here.
And you're here.
Yeah.
But back then you can't actually put a finger on how you did it.
Yes.
It means that humans have it's like the human body or the human transit form is kind of like a sponge.
Yes.
A sponge,
very
elastic, and that
can absorb a lot.
Yes, that's also what we want to tell our listeners.
Yes.
Najua watu wengi wako kwa ngori hata sahii tunaongea.
Kweli.
Hata even amongst us zenye hatujaiambiana.
Actually, researchers say that in every 3 months of your life, lazima ukuwe na ka crisis.
Yeah.
Every 3 months.
Yeah.
So kama saizi huko kwa ngori, kuna ngori na
hatukuthreaten lakini tunakumake aware.
Na kuna ingine unaondokea.
Ni nini? Uta survive.
You have to keep on going, man.
So you have to understand your resiliency factor. We're not saying that now you have to normalize or sanitize suffering. No.
True.
Na by the way ulikuwa na deal na denial kitu gani?
I'm coming to that. Yeah. So for me, part of the reason why sikuanza treatment immediately is because against this backdrop, I have a huge denial. Sija process my daughter dying.
Yeah.
Sija process my girlfriend dying.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time I ever saw somebody close to me cremated. I'm used to the burial. My girlfriend was
okay.
cremated. So there's a lot of things to deal with. And then now if you asked me something very important,
Yeah.
what made me be ready, or how did I process?
What's your mental process?
I think ideally I jumped into it because of necessity. Because if I didn't,
Yeah.
then my daughter would be an orphan.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
if I didn't,
Yeah.
a lot of things were at stake. My grandmother in the village, and in Tegemea, she's one person who has taken care of me since I was 5 months old.
Yes.
You know, my parents died when I was very young. So
Yes.
you see, this is something that has put me in a place where I have to adjust, and I have a responsibility towards myself and the people around me.
You owe it to yourself.
Yes.
But mostly
to stay
ilikuwa
alive.
driven na the people around you mostly.
Yes, mostly at that point, the
So,
the thing
wacha
that really helped me.
nikuulize,
Yeah.
unafikiri ungekuwa alone hiyo time? Ungekuwa na hiyo strength as opposed
I
na kuwa
think
na daughter na
I think it
grandee
would have taken some time for me.
if
Yeah.
you were just alone.
To be honest, I think sometimes the people around us are community, and that's why I usually champion for a lot of community wellness and well-being.
Yes.
It kind of it makes sense that sometimes we live for other people, and it's not a bad coping mechanism. It just shows you that there's importance in people that surround you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at your life and you're like, if I didn't have somebody,
Yeah.
then I would be in a worse situation.
Yeah, true.
So I think for me, nilikuwa naona, hey, my daughter really needs me.
Yeah.
There are people who count on me. There are people who've really supported me through up to that point.
Yeah.
And if I don't find any courage to do it for myself, then I actually am responsible for them. Yeah. So nearly process denial haikuisha at all.
Yeah.
And it took me 2 months to start treatment. Actually 1 month and about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So just roughly 2 months. When I started, what pushed me to start treatment is now you see I can't go to class.
Yeah.
The shock. I lost 17 kg in 1 month.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
You know, and inakukula pole pole.
Are you going to work at that point?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
going to work.
Okay.
I'm forcing myself. I have to put myself, you know. And you see, the thing is, one response to trauma is usually denial,
Yeah.
because you still can't believe that this is happening to you. So you think that your life is gonna go
Yeah.
vile uenda.
Yeah.
Like you think form ni ile, but no.
Yeah, man.
So what actually made me come to my senses real quick
Yeah.
ni kuna time tumeenda field, you know, so tumeenda kuregister wase bank. You see, like I told you, Chess Bank was still new.
Yeah.
So tumeenda field nika collapse.
So at that time, did the bank know you were sick?
They didn't. I didn't tell nobody.
And why?
I didn't even tell my family or my grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hata job, kwa
this-
nini job usiwaambie na maybe wanaweza saidia kucover costs zingine?
Wow.
I doubted. Well, number one, I doubted if they would. But then again, also something with the trauma and also comes with the idea of silence. Whether it is a social justice idea or governance or personal trauma,
Yeah.
mostly watu ukwa cornered or kwa place in your feel,
Yeah.
you feel like an islander. You feel like this is
you're
only
isolated.
happening to me.
Yes.
Or it has never happened to any, or
You
nikiambia CJ atasema aezi elewa, unaelewa.
Yeah,
Uko kwa hiyo point when you are stuck, the walls against you tells you, like nani akisemaga Scarface, you know, my mind is playing tricks on me.
Oh, yeah,
So you
yeah.
feel like Mose aezi elewa, but sometimes Mose anaweza elewa, unaelewa.
Yeah, man.
So mi nilikuwa na feel ni kama nikiambia mtu they won't understand.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you tell yourself I can do this.
Yeah.
And yet you realize later that you need support.
True.
Yeah. So even though actually goes back to denial and processing, there's something called reaction formation. It's a coping mechanism.
Yes.
So you try to formulate your case scenario, and mostly you look at the worst case scenario. If I tell Mose atani judge, ama Mose atasema, sa tutadu, then you feel more helpless. Unaelewa?
So hiyo ndo kitu ilikuwa inakufanya usiambie wase wa job.
Yes. But mostly, I think also it goes to my personality.
Yeah.
I tend to be more reserved. I think nowadays nimejaribu because of teaching, because of the work like this that we're doing.
Yes.
So nime bring down the walls kiasi, but generally as a person, which is I think is what actually informed my response. I am always a quiet person. I'm very reserved.
Yes.
I only open up once I feel I have processed things enough, then I can let in somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So turudi kwa hiyo field trip, ulikenda uka faint tena. Sasa from there.
Hiyo ilikuwa around Nairobi.
Yeah, ilikuwa Nairobi bado. I think tulikuwa wapi? Tulikuwa Kitengela.
Okay.
Yeah, tulikuwa Kitengela. So I think your time sasa you get a wake up call. Like you have to, bro, you really have to do something.
Yeah.
So
So
then-
what
So this
happens
is the second time it's happening.
Yes.
so umecollapse ukiwa Kitengela, which hospital are you taken to?
Tulipelekwa Mata. Yeah, tulipelekwa Mata. So, but the reason why nilipelekwa Mata was I had a friend who was working there as a nurse.
All right.
Yeah, so it was also easy because now I was starting to realize actually I need people in my team. You understand? And that's also
and knowledgeable people.
yes, knowledgeable people.
Yes, yes.
And that's also the moment where I told my immediate family that
Okay.
kuna ngori imetokea.
Yes.
And how did they take it?
Oh, they were shocked. You know, they were shocked. Of course, they expect that, oh, he's always a result person. But they were really shocked because if you have been a healthy person and then one sudden evening changes your story,
Yeah.
that's a shock even
So
for them.
atakumaanisha before kwa life yako hakuna point ushaona ni kama uko na ngori.
Nah.
Apart from your first time
I
ulifeel.
would say maybe when I was young because for a lot of people don't know, I'm autistic.
Okay.
Yeah, so I fall on the spectrum of autistic Asperger's syndrome. So
All right.
I had a bit of a challenging childhood,
Right.
but I can't say that it persisted after age 6 or 7.
I'm curious around that. Huh? You mentioned you're autistic. So let's just draw back a little bit to your childhood. Your childhood happens in Nairobi or Shags?
My childhood is a mixture of Nairobi and Kampala and Shags.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Like I told you, I was raised by my maternal grandma.
Yes.
They stayed in Woodley for a long time, and that's where I grew up in.
Ulikuwa naiba wa moja.
Yeah, Cabernet Gardens, pale.
Okay.
Yeah, so then also, then when they retired, my grandmother is the one first who retired, and then we moved to the village.
Yes.
But often during holidays, we would go to the village a lot.
Are you an orphan or something?
My mom passed on when I was young.
All right.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So when we moved back to the village, that's when things start to become more clear. Like you are always gonna be raised by your old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, the mixture gave me a sort of a bit of a balanced way of understanding stuff.
Yeah.
It could be something that also it's a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Because some things, when you look at your story, you realize that something may have happened a certain way, but it's not entirely a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always some silver lining.
Says in it, yes.
Now, at what point do you get the awareness that you're actually autistic, and what's the environment around that? How are people around you handling that?
One, because it took some time for me to form speech, and I struggled with learning.
Yes.
So generally, you're always behind in class. You're always that dumb kid.
Yeah.
You don't fit in well socially.
Yes.
Your response to stimuli, like let's say you're angry, you beat your head to the wall, and they were wondering what's up. And many people thought I would never talk.
All right.
But my grandmother was very kind, and she kept on trying to see a therapist. I remember there was another Indian doctor in Kisumu who really helped
Yes.
with the speech therapy and most of just general therapy.
Your home is in Kisumu,
In
Central.
in Kisumu. It's just a village called Nyakach. It's about 30 minutes from Kisumu town.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
I've been to Nyakach.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not a home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the credit my grandmother for really trying.
Big up,
For not
big up,
giving
sana.
up. Yeah. That's why she's like huge part of my story. When you look at in Dwaya Nafsi, there's a song called Dear Maria. It's
Okay.
called Maria.
All right.
Yeah, but also my aunties who stepped in and my uncle. Like I grew up knowing they were my parents.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
generally that's the first idea of a parent I have of them.
All right.
And it took some time for me to break it.
Okay.
I remember I got my relief when I was in class 6.
Okay.
And when I got it, now it became excessively because now I had to overcompensate. Remember,
Yeah.
they used to call you the dumb kid, you know,
Yeah.
the kid
The
who
damn
doesn't
kid
have the
who became a
parent.
lecturer.
Yeah. You know, so you're overcompensating.
Yes.
And I think that's also what expanded my worldview. I took into art, I took into sports. I used to play good sports, and you're also
Okay.
well rounded in academics. I think in a way I was trying to respond to being taken down or being looked down upon all the time. So you need to really be an overachiever.
Yes.
Could prove point in some way. I didn't know that I was trying to prove a point, but looking back now, I see that
It
I
makes
was actually,
sense.
it makes sense.
Now, if you got your break at around class 6, that means your earlier years were
They were
very
tough.
Very tough.
They were tough.
Now, then you have this kind of bliss of now mulipoko ya art, and how are academics changing for you from this previous period to the new you now?
I
The new
think
discovery of
the spark came in. Previously, I still used to top the class, but I was not very self-confident, number one.
Okay.
But number two, when I finally got hold of that confidence,
Right.
now it became too good. Especially I remember maths. I
Yeah.
was very good at maths. I could do a lot of maths offered.
Yeah.
And sometimes it got me to trouble. Like I remember this time when I did 3 chapters ahead of walituambia tufanyie assignment. So nimefanya assignment, nimefanya ahead. The teacher didn't like that.
Mpaka yenye hujasomeshwa.
Yeah, but he didn't know that I was actually struggling. I remember there's only madam who was called Madam Hilda.
All right.
She was very kind to me. I think I owe her a lot.
Big
Bless
up to
her heart.
Madam Hilda.
Yeah, so nilikuwaga every other afternoon nilikuwa naendaga kwake na sit next to her. She was like a mother figure to me.
Right.
Okay.
So she used to teach me a lot, do a lot of coaching because she realized I needed at least a little bit of an extra effort.
Yeah.
So I would say that when the outburst came, now I singeza shikika anymore. It was just like a big burst of energy, of weight. And I can't say I did it on my own.
Yeah.
I had support.
Yes.
But sometimes I also credit me having to self-audit. Jangalia no seme by the nilizaliwa hivi, so there's nothing I can change. I have to just adapt to it
Yeah.
and try and become a better person.
Okay. Na hii journey ya art sasa inaanzanga wapi?
Yeah,
Hii
exactly.
journey ya art, first of all, I grew up in a house of teachers and academics.
All right.
I remember we had a very, not so big, but medium library at home.
Okay.
So most of the time, like you realize I was socially awkward. Most of my, after having done all the chores, mimi nilikuwa naendaga laibo. And I started reading things that were way ahead of me.
Okay.
And because I could grasp them, and my grandmother would wonder, how do you know that?
Are you
know,
reading concepts or storybooks?
I'm reading concepts. Sometimes I read, like I remember even secondary school books.
Yeah.
And they would tend to grasp them, and they were wondering.
You're in
kwani-
primary
Yes,
at that
I'm
point?
in primary.
Kwa class 2 unasoma kitabu yake.
Yes. And I remember skipping some classes in between class from 2 to 4. I think I skipped. So that's how things were for me. I think that culture of reading, that culture. I remember my grandfather, who was also a don,
Yeah.
was and a researcher, was also very keen on me looking outside the box. The idea of the model way of education could not fit me. So he also took it into him to teach
to be
me,
adaptive.
yes, to be adaptive, to think out the box, to be a good guider. And I think when he died, when I was 10,
Yes.
that really traumatized me. I don't think I have ever gotten over it.
Yes.
Because, like I said, they were like my parents, number
Yes,
one, and
yes.
then I looked up to him. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be better than him. So when he died suddenly in 2002,
Yeah.
I'm left now completely orphaned.
Okay.
And my grandmother was very strict, so sikuwa very close na yeye. I became closer to her later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yes.
at that point, I think we also need to appreciate him for at least having that foresight of saying that your education style will be different. So I'm also assuming that by the time he's passing, he has already established
Yes.
in the psychology of the people around you that huyu hatakuwa ule wa the same syllabus na wale wengine. I think that still helped.
Yeah, it does. It did help. I remember one time he went to school and complained.
Yes.
When there are times when you have manic episodes, you just freeze, especially when you're quarreled.
Yeah.
And because you used to stammer a lot,
Yeah.
so sometimes most of the teachers never used to understand where this is coming from. They think you are rude when you don't answer a question. And I was beaten a lot by this teacher.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, but it wasn't very necessary, Joe. So Akaenda chuo akatetea, like as he said, I'm going to report this to the DEO. I think, remember back then?
Yes,
when
yes,
there were
yes,
DEOs,
yes,
the
yes.
DEOs were very powerful.
DEOs, APSIs.
Yes. So he said, I think you really, first of all, I understand that for a long time these are cases that you never used to witness, but
Yes.
they are coming up more.
Yes.
Many families are having children like him.
Yes.
So you really need to be more considerate.
Yes.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that foundation.
And that also changed the way the school now treated you going forward.
Yes.
Anyway, msisahau ni Gift of Gab,
Yes,
the
sir.
number 1 hip hop talk show hapa Power Radio, tune in, power up. Umesikia tuko na mgeni wa Power. Umsame overcome vitu mingi sana walai.
This is such a story, man.
Tunataka tuingie kwa muziki kidogo.
Yeah.
Tukirudi
When we come
to
back
pick up
now.
from where we left. Ndio.
Yes.
Msisahau Power Radio.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Hata mimi story sikuwa naijua.
Yeah, they been selling nas, yeah, that's the truth. Aichapik tena kazi, man, in fact ni upuzi. Viongozi ndo wadanganyaji, majambazi wakuu. Polisi wana sell drugs, jela naenda mjungi. Bei cheap tu nauzwa. Komo mwana inchi nipo street tu na unga. Kura nilipiga inanipiga kwa ukula. MP anaongea utumbo kumtaa umekunja sura. Sitaki kunipuza na ukaisi na vuruga. Siogopi kukosoa hata mkinita. Mzee wa kuviunda, msanii na jina kubwa. Stuka unapigwa fuba, unalipwa robo show. Promoter na kula kubwa, media zinakula muda, zinakuwa jina ulipwi. Unatumika kama punda na ukichuja uitwi. Watu wanapiga mpunga, kikuda kisnitch. Umechelewa kujiona fala, wameshakuza siku nyingi. Mfano unalipa bili za umeme na maji, mzalendo utaki madeni. Una clear kwa wakati, ila sikia sawaki. Chana maji anakata usiku, umeme au waki. Utastuka, utapata sana sira ukiona mbu ameshiba na msosi ulikuwa we mwenye njaa. Mbu kapiga, usifeki na kusia hata kama ni umepigika. Ukinyenyekea, media bongo unamilikishwa. Make sure kuwa kazi unachapa, unapata pay. Kizubao kawa fala, utastuka umepigwa bei. Kizubao kawa fala, utastuka umepigwa bei.
Unachezwa ufisadi, unafichwa wakipiga dili. Unachezwa na viongozi wa dini ya wana madili. Unachezwa na wachumba hadi tunakumbwa na uchungu. Unachezwa kota. Unachezwa ufisadi, unafichwa wakipiga dili. Unachezwa na viongozi wa dini ya wana madili. Unachezwa na wachumba hadi tunakumbwa na uchungu. Unachezwa kote hadi imani nyeusi kachua. Nasema hip hop sio hit music, when I associate na shit music. Wakati mitani we still use it, kufunza jamii kabla we all lose it. Boom bap bado iko so juicy, mafans wengi ni watoto wa juzi. Na kwa media bado tu kuna upuzi, quick to sleep on talanta na ujuzi. Aliye na macho haambiwi tazama. Wanasema kuko sawa na genge toni shazama. Maboys walijituma hadi wakavuma juu ya kazana. Wana drop big songs na bado wanamangiwa sana. God damn, vijana wa town tunadanganyana. Na ball kwa mitandao, kwa ground ni tofauti sana. Nafikiria kwa youth ni ujuaji from start to finish. Tujifunze kujifunza ndo ignorance diminish. Nachezwa kote hadi kanisani, waumini wanaongozwa na imani. Mtumishi wa Mungu anadai imani, siasa ni wizi, tuko mashakani. Nachezwa kote hadi kwetu nyumbani, wengine wanalea watoto wa jirani. Hauko safe hadi maskani, msaniki sio tu star flani. Unachezwa ufisadi, unafichwa wakipiga dili. Unachezwa na viongozi wa dini ya wana madili. Unachezwa na wachumba hadi tunakumbwa na uchungu. Unachezwa ufisadi, unafichwa wakipiga dili. Unachezwa na viongozi wa dini ya wana madili. Unachezwa na wachumba hadi tunakumbwa na uchungu. Unachezwa kote hadi imani nyeusi kachungu.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Pala, be the MC. Yeah. Inaonekana wazi
jamii inachukia tunavyojisifia kwenye kila wimbo, na ndo maana tumeamua kuizindua mitaa kwenye hii single. Jiulize mwenyewe, washikaji zako wangapi wana ajira kitaa, wana hasira na njaa, kona ngapi zimeajiri majengiri na vichaa, makahaba na vibaka wenye machata balaa. Vipi, mbona kiza unauliza, unashangaa ushomba sana visa na mpaka kwa miujiza na visa kuna unabuma wezi kupaa, unanuna unajikataa, refa napendelea ukiongea unapewa kadiri mradi unyamazo siwaze unyonyaji tulivyopagawa. Mitaa nayokaa tusikila serikali kardinali au shehe zakaki na kira hiyo kisinzia utasikia washaingia wazee.
Na wakilisha mitaa na wasilisha fasihi, ni vyema kusahihishwa nikiyumbisha sahihi. Maisha ni safari, nitafika msafiri kwa imani ya kuaminika, sintofichwa kama siri. Darasa huru kitika utoro haufai, nitandika mpaka nife ni kuachia mchoro uhai. Misio mlevi wa kila siku, somroho wa divai, la hip hop kilevi changu zaidi ya ugoro na Masai. Mahiri na wajibika, ifike siku nijiajiri, mwagika jasho akili tumika macho jadili, na tafsiri asili ambacho na kikabiri. Fiki alfajili ya giza nite mumba ni safiri. Uliyesinzia unapaswa kuamshwa, tunapaswa tamka nayopaswa tamkwa. Hip hop darasa kubwa, shule headmaster mkuda, kisa nenzi lugha chafu zaidi ya rasta za mfungwa.
Naweza kuchukua maisha yetu, lakini hamtoweza kuitenga jamii, mbali na stereo, pala na P au mokwa miujiza na Nash MC. Mnaweza kuzitoa roho zetu, lakini hamtoweza kuitoa jamii, ndo maana tunaizindua mitaa kinamna hii, Nash MC na P the MC.
Hapo ulipo kwanza hebu tazama shoto kulia, watu wana goto kila siku misoto wanalia, watoto wanaangamia, ma MC michosho wanachana juu ya supla midosho wanaotupia, nikisema tu lawama eti na bana wajui ni vingi sana vya kuchana vyenye maana kama pressure. Wana kitaa wanavyoteseka wakisaka pesa zilizotekwa na wana epa. Tumwombe Mungu ili atubariki wenye imani, tuiepuke dhiki hata kwa pipi kuza mezani. Kuishi mitani bado ni ubishi kama vitani, polisi na sisi kutwa hazishi purukushani. Shuba kitaa, fujo, bugudha na mabalaa ndo vimetukuza mpaka wakubwa tumekomaa. Dua kwa jaa zimenifanya kuwa shujaa, P the MC na Nash tunaizindua mitaa.
Napotoka ndipo wanapotoka, wanatambua juu ya mdundo na udondoka, ndo mitaa navyozindua. Jenga fikra kwenye ubongo, toa matongo wone mbele, mi ndo teacher mwenye usongo, madente watike ngele. Jamii na fall apart, bora nigeuke joint, nyuma hamna rakati, sina budi nende front, kupigania haki mpaka ifike tamati. Mabepare wataki usawa, dawa spige mtukati, hisabati na kokotoa, na bundi na toboa. Mine msimu chafu nsesafishwa kwa dawa ya madoa, njoo kupige msasa kupe darasa vile napaswa. Huu ni wayo so na gamba na ukigusa tumenasa, kwa roho safi tena kwa moyo mkunjufu, uso na dabu na waning'inisa kamikufu. Mheshimu sana dingi ila mama mweke juu, hoja nazotema sota msingi ni za chuo kikuu. Mnaweza kuchukua maisha yetu, lakini hamtoweza kuitenga jamii, mbali na stereo, pala na P au mokwa miujiza na Nash MC. Mnaweza kuzitoa roho zetu, lakini hamtoweza kuitoa jamii, ndo maana tunaizindua mitaa kinamna hii, Nash MC na P the MC.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Yo, welcome back to Gift of Gab, your number one hip hop talk show on Power Radio.
Yes,
Tune in, power up. Sasa tukiendelea, tunawakumbusha kwa studio tuko na mzee mzima. Anajiita nani?
Omondi Chuka here.
Omondi Ochuka.
Na umsako huko mwisho.
DJ CJ.
Mimi ni Elijah Moz hapa.
Yes sir.
Soulmate, yeah?
Soulmate.
Awesome.
Haya, CJ.
Yes sir.
Kuna mahali nilikuwa nasikia unataka tuanzie.
Yeah, number one, yani Ochuka, your story is so large, eh? Itabidi saa tuanze tu kuichukua from milestones.
Landmarks
So
too.
kuna mali tulikuwa tumefika before we pull up to your upbringing. So umecollapse ukiwa kite, ukiwa job. Then now it dawns on you that lazima sasa niambie marela wenye wako na people around me. Hiyo journey to you beginning treatment, na treatment ulianzaje na wapi, and how do you move now from there?
So I think you're in the moment you realize now I have to really start treatment.
Yeah.
There's no time for. I think when you are like a critical person, let's say in your family or in your support system,
True.
then unaga yo luxury ya kuwine.
Yeah.
You just go with it.
Unakaa ngumu
Yeah,
nayo.
unakaa ngumu nayo. So I think that's what I realized, and I decided I'm gonna defer,
Yeah.
which is one of the hardest things. I had my life planned. You know, I wanted to do my PhD by age 25, kama ni mbaya 6.
Okay.
No niende haraka. In fact, by then nilikuwa na a scholarship from Princeton. My idea was, since Gava ilikuwa nalipia UN, it was a government sponsored program.
Yes.
Nilikuwa nimalize, then I go there, do my masters and also do the undergrad.
Okay.
So sometimes you plan life, but even don't see life when. So nearly realize I have to tell my support system and then also start treatment. So I started my treatment in Aga Khan.
Okay.
For a lot of people, when you wanasikiza mtaani, all just generally globally, all over the world, in our nation, all over the world. Yeah, so watu wengi wanaga hiyo capacity ya kulipia bima and insurance.
Yes.
Ama to pay out of the pocket, like we've already indicated earlier.
Yes.
So even from my own research and from my own volunteering during cancer advocacy and awareness, unapata, if somebody gets a diagnosis for cancer, and for a long time, even to date, cancer has a very brutal stigma.
Yes.
It's usually equated to a death sentence.
Yes,
Mtu anaenda tu home
yes,
anasema,
yes,
there's nothing I can do anymore.
Yeah.
And you find that it's the shock that kills you before the cancer.
Okay.
And for a lot of people, it's the same thing. Whether you're dealing with, let's say, a job loss, a breakup, relationship, vitu tu tofauti watu hupitia as human beings.
Yeah.
That shock factor is very important because it is what we are cushioned against. Ni kama tu moyo. Moyo is very delicate, but the layers of tissue around it kind of makes it a little bit. And then the rib cage creates certain security and against that vulnerability.
True.
So I was lucky that I was working, number one. I was lucky that I had a private insurance. And then I was also lucky that I had an HIF. And then I was also lucky that at that time, sikuwa nimepita 23.
Okay.
So I was still covered by my grandma's insurance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So naelewa. So I count myself very lucky. And that luck didn't run for long.
Yeah.
So when I started treatment in Aga Khan, of course, you see it's a private hospital. The rates are different.
Yes.
The quality of treatment is good because, one, they have done it so much, and then they have equipment and they have good qualified doctors.
Yeah, I think it is one hospital that really invests in research, and that is very important, especially when you're dealing with these aggressive conditions.
And because also it's a global franchise. It's in Pakistan. It's it's in many countries now.
I think it is one of the few hospitals who are certified by the American.
ISO. Yes.
Yeah. So their standards are verifiable.
Yes.
At this time, public hospital service yao ilikuwaje?
Ilikuwa ngori bana, KNH. Bro.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing. So kuna day nimekuwa referred. I had this back pain on my spine. We thought it was related to what I was going through. So unajua sasa nimerudi back to chuo na jaribu kaba sijadifa. So nimekuwa referred. Usually they refer you from the University Health Center to KNH. Most people even KU used to do that before they built the hospital.
Yes.
So mazi unaenda pale unapanga line kwa revenue. 5 straight hours. Hapo ndo wasi wa prison wanakuja, hapo ndo watu wa private, hapo ndo the same.
Revenue hata hujatibiwa
bado.
Revenue ni kwenda kulipia kadi.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So unapanga line pale. I used to come back from that place around midnight. Sometimes Mrs. Wasike stay with my daughter for that long.
What?
Imagine sometimes umeenda up to midnight ujona doke.
What?
Doke mwenye alifaa kuone alisharudi hadi mwingine akaingia shift ingine. Ujalipia wanakwambia by the end ulipia ingine. And because the services were not streamlined, and this is why in my thesis, like we'll talk about it later on, I really champion for what is called HMIS.
Yes.
And I'm very glad the government also put something what is called Digitization of Health Act on 2023.
HMIS is this digitization?
It's an infrastructure
hospital,
a management information system. It's like an ICT infrastructure. So it helps you when a patient goes in, and the hostel first gets their detail ama walikuwa washakuja hapo, so the hostel has their details
Right.
from triage hadi mnasa ku check physical exam hadi uone doke hadi uende kwa pharmacy hadi utoke. This can create, as an economist, it can create something called a time series, so you can be able to know what is the average time that one patient can take from the moment waende hosi hadi wakitoka, so that you can tailor your policies around this hostel ikuwe more effective kwa patient. You save time, you save cost.
Na pake H ilikuwa ni story wako understaffed ama ni nini?
No, I think hiyo crisis
hiyo mpaka tunafika saa 5 bado hujafikiwa.
The reason why that is so, remember KNH used to be King George, was built in around 1954-57.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a referral hospital. For watu wajui, referral means inafaa osi ingine ndo inakurifa Kenyatta.
Yani umeshashindikana place ingine.
But you find that because we don't have a good referral system,
mtu anajipeleka.
Mtu anajipeleka hapo. So that already creates a backlog. Hiyo ni number 1. Number 2, remember this thing was built in the 50s.
Yes.
So even population demand ya sahi, like back then in 2012 or 2011, haikuwa inaimatch. It's overwhelmed. Yes, it's overwhelmed. That's number 2. Number 3, wako understaffed. And then they are demoralized. And unmotivated.
Mishahara nasikiaga sijui miezi 6.
Yes. And then 3, most of the facilities hawana. I will tell you one thing. There was a time I was number 968 kwa queue ya kufanya radiotherapy.
Okay.
Remember this time sasa nimeishiwa na insurance, so I'm not working anymore.
Yes.
I've passed age 23.
You're not covered by Shosho's
so I'm only covered by NHIF yenye ni yangu. So I have to pay out of the pocket most of the time.
Yes.
So, na si cheap. Na si cheap. So ulikuwa unapata radiotherapy machine ilikuwa ina knock. Na chiu. Na mnangoja.
Piga shughuli sana.
Imepiga shughuli sana. And then also they don't have, they used to have, I think they used to have expatriates who used to come repair it. That's another thing. When you outsource medical technology and you don't have personnel to actually train on how to, because repairs do happen every other time. So that usually creates this backlash where you have mgoje. So if you didn't have money to go to, I remember that's when German Institute was coming, German Diagnostics was coming, Upper Hill, Lancet. So kama uko na do ya kwenda hizo places private, then you had to wait for the queue.
So your insurance yako at this time
haezi ni allow kwenda NHIF, and then also most private hospitals used to frown, even to date. Most private hospitals wanafrownigi upon NHIF. Unless there's a category for civil servants. Mostly I think
inakuanga 25.
Yes.
It's called, there's a name they give it. I don't know, golden
civil servant scheme. It's just a CSS. I
have been a beneficiary of it at some point. So I understand even the privileges that it comes with. In that case, with the complications that we have been having around NHIF, saizi kuna private hospitals mingi sana hazijalipwa pesa zao. Za gava pia hazijalipwa. Is it justifiable that we are moving into social health insurance?
So I think for me, NHIF was a good back, like ni kama cushioning, but it wasn't enough, to be honest. Because you felt like you were an outsider, you felt like you have an insurance, but you can't. They say it's a comprehensive cover, but when you go, wanasema, hatuwezi cover hii meds, ama tuna cover only this percentage, the rest utalipia. Unaelewa? Like chemotherapy, they capped it for a long time, they capped it at 19,500.
And
that's not even a session.
So
how frequently were you going for the chemo?
When I started chemo, I was having chemo 2 times a week.
2 times a week.
And radiotherapy twice a month.
So per month unaweza kuwa umespend over 50k.
Over 50 Gs. You know, which was good with 2012 and 2011 and 12. And when I got my first coma in June 2012, which lasted 43 days, hapo ndo vitu ziliumana.
Wait, so let's go to that. So you've been in treatment for how long now?
Now I've been in treatment for 3 months.
For 3 months, in 2012. Then you go into a coma.
I go into a coma.
Is that happening while you're at home, or what's the story behind it?
I was still with my daughter.
Right.
Single father.
Yeah.
But nimekat chuo sahi siendi.
Okay.
It was tough. I think it was caused by an infection. I had pneumonia, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I had severe pneumonia, so I had to be taken to the ICU, and I couldn't even really sleep.
All right.
So things were really tough for my family then.
Yeah.
Um,
And you were taken to which hospital?
I was at Aga Khan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were still within your cover that
Yes,
time?
yes, I was still within my cover.
All right, all right.
The reason why we did chemo and radio, a combination, is because one, the cancer was inoperable. Kwa watu labda wanahitaji some little information.
Yes.
When your cancer is inoperable, it means the doctor cannot have active surgery on it.
Yes.
So it means they had to shrink the tumor because it was into a hepatic portal vein. Ni one of the veins that are very important that runs through the liver.
Yes.
So if they were to do a surgery, chances are I wouldn't have made it out of the operating room, the OR.
Yeah.
So they opted to do sessions of chemo and radio until they feel satisfied that it's either shrinking or they now can do what is called a resection.
Right.
Resection is when they cut a part of the liver. And because we know the liver ni kama nini ya ulele, regrow.
Yes.
So that was the treatment plan.
Yes.
And one thing that I learned during that period is cancer has a lot of back and forth. Because we still do not know how to deal with the rogue cells. Cancer kwa coast na vitu tunaita rogue cells. Rogue cells ni kama cells zako, chembe za life za cells.
Yes.
Zimeenda maandamano. It's not neat.
I was avoiding to say that word.
Wacha tu tuiseme, bro. So nika zina riot.
Yes.
So when they, like for example, when they multiply more than they should, it creates a mass which is called a tumor.
Yes.
Yeah, tumor ni kama uvimbe. Yeah, ni kama swelling. So hii uvimbe ndo inafanya inflammation.
Yes.
Inafanya it now creates like a jikoni. So these cells are very angry. First of all, like even if you look at under the cells, the activity potential under the cell is highly intense. So they need a lot of sugar, they need a lot of energy. And that's why you find most cancer patients are very lethargic, wanakuwa weekend kabisa. Wanafaa tissues zimeanza kupungua because it's eating on them.
All right.
And then it causes other problems, which is like I would call them opportunistic. So napata I didn't used to have hypertensive tension, but now I have it.
Yeah.
I didn't used to have rheumatoid arthritis, now I have that.
Yes.
So vitu zilienda tu combo like kabisa in one very short period.
Yeah.
And I think when I woke up, that is when the reality actually dawned on me that now
when you woke up from the coma.
Yeah, after 43 days.
Wow.
I remember it was not very vivid. Ni kama you're waking up from bad dream, but vitu bado haziko clear anymore. It's like you are hallucinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so bado unajaribu kuradanisha. I'm seeing some old lady here. My daughter was somewhere next to the bed. But I think after 3 days, that's when I came to like real consciousness.
All right.
Yeah, so after that, I think it went better, it improved. In 2013, I went back to school.
Okay.
And then 2014, I suffered another coma. I cut school again, nimedefer. And then 2015, sasa vitu, it's bad kabisa. Remember, they have still not achieved what they needed to achieve with the tumor. Shrink it.
So
and
they're still doing chemo and radio.
Yes. And 2014, now officially, I'm out of cover. I'm only using an HIF.
So now this is when now you're having your episodes at KNH.
Yes. So
na hii NHIF sasa ilikuwa inabidi sengine unaingia kwa mfuko ama ilikuwa enough?
Most of the time nilikuwa naingia kwa mfuko.
Okay, ukiongeza na
especially on meds. So kitanda ulikuwa nalipia ilikuwa fiti. I think they capped it at between 650 to 900.
Okay.
Doctor's consultation was about 1350 to 1500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was what most doctors were charging, unless you found a more experienced doctor who would charge you 2,500 for consultation. So most of the time ilikuwa poor. I would say it was better having it, and I still say that to our listeners.
Yes.
Wale wanasikiza mtani. It's better you have it. Because kama uko nayo, remember ikikushikilia katubo mahali, it's something. It's not
every shilling counts.
Yeah. And when you are sick, you will realize that every shilling counts, because ukipata dokidogo umeenda hustle pale mtaani, umerudi na 150, unataka upeleke wife maternity, utoke 100 bob, mtu yeye anaenda chuo anataka stationery.
Yeah.
Pia rent kuna mahali. So you realize that every shilling counts at the end of the day.
Very true.
So if you didn't have that insurance, it means you will be struggling more.
Yeah.
You
And at this
understand?
point, are you still working at the bank?
No. So hiyo si work kwa bank. I think at that point nilikuwa na work APA.
Okay.
I was
But
an intern.
at least uko na source of income.
It wasn't paid. Yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't paid.
are you in
I think
sales?
I think that time I was I was on research and development.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so at that time I was working online as an academic writer. I think back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've also been a beneficiary of that environment of doing works online.
Remotely, yeah, eventually, yes.
Was it enough to take care of your bills for your daughter and also your treatment?
No, it wasn't enough. I think I also my family came in. My auntie, my girlfriend's family were very supportive during that time.
Yeah.
So I would also say them chipping in ilifanya hiyo weight, your burden kushuka kiasi. So
And
first,
at this point, Dr. Washadai.
daughter? Yeah, Ali died 2011, the same year I was diagnosed.
So walikuwa wanakusupport after Shago.
Yeah, the family was supportive.
that's
Yeah,
really nice
yeah,
of
they were
them.
really kind.
That's dope.
Yeah, they were really kind.
Big up to that family.
Yeah, so fast forward 2015, now things are really tough.
Yeah.
I think I've never felt cornered in my life like that. So
Hebu sasa nikuulize. Hii time hiyo 2015, hiyo ndio time mimi nakujanga kukujua around hiyo time. Ulituanga hizi masidi zikifuatana hivyo. Kulikuwa na kitu ulikuwa nao in mind ukifuatanisha hivyo.
yes.
Ni nini ilikuwa na run kwa akili yako?
First, kituka like meeting the Eclipse.
Kwanza ni ngapi?
I have 15 albums total. Is it tuko ni less kiasi?
Ati ngapi?
What? Wait. Pull up. Kwani ulianza kurecord when?
Ilianza kurecord Primo. So between primary and high school, we had 2 mixtapes.
Yes.
I recorded with my uncle Freddie. He passed on in 2020.
That is in Shags or in Nairobi?
In Nairobi.
Okay.
And we also had a recording studio at home. We used to just record on cassette.
Okay.
Wow.
Kulikuwa na hii computer gateway na floppy disk.
Yeah.
There wasn't much stress.
So you're using Fruity Loops?
Yes, back then when it just landed.
Okay.
So the reason
kwa nini zilifuatana hivyo?
The reason why
Ulizifanyanga nika ulizifanya na finyo sana.
Yes, the reason why this is important, meeting the Eclipse. So first of all, there's a friend of mine, a brother to me, is called MC Spook.
Yeah.
So MC Spook used to be a fan of me. I used to have a website and I used to be very active on social media because I used to post every other day, mostly about my journey, but also about social commentary.
Social media that time we are depending on Facebook.
And notes. Remember Facebook notes?
Yes.
Remember your day, yeah.
By the way, the other day I was looking for my notes and I can't find them. I
think,
don't know what is happening.
I think they deactivated that feature.
I had so many good pieces there, man.
Yes, me too. I lost a lot of notes there. So your time, I had this brother of mine who used to be in Eldoret. Akaniambia, Mazee, I love your writings. Unajua, by this year, I'm just a page poet.
Yeah.
I can't rap to save my life.
Okay.
It's
You
easy.
cannot do the presentation of what you're writing.
And even when I was doing it, you see, there's a way hip hop is written.
Yes.
Kuna bar, kuna 16 bars. I realized there are rules inside in-house rules.
Yeah.
So meeting the Eclipse was more like I was facing myself. Eclipse, kuna watu wanajua hawajui when the moon and the sun wako in the same direction at some point in life. So kuna wana shadow fulani. So I felt like 2011 was that shadow. Unaelewa? Okay. So I was meeting my story for the first time more intentional. Unajua unaendaga through life but kuna kitu inakustop on your path.
Yeah.
Inakushow ebu angalia life yako. You could die any minute. So hiyo ndo concept ilikuwa behind meeting the Eclipse. And back then
kutoa hizi CD ulikuwa unataka kuhakikisha in case kitu ikufanyikie tumekukumbuka ama
mostly no, but I also used it because I told you off camera the other day that my music is autobiographical. Why do I say so? Because they highlight my life. It's only occasionally that I deviate kidogo and I talk about social issues and governance, but most of them are about me. The reason why that is so is I've used art ever since I was young. Because I was also very visual, a very visual kid. I loved painting.
You still paint up today?
I still do. So I used to use art as a form of expression. Because I remember there are times when I used to just draw what I felt and show my grandma or show my family members. And you say, that's good, So they encourage that. So when I had a very intense way, one of the ways to deal with it because I didn't have anywhere else. I created like a creative channel.
Yeah.
And that became like poetry and music. And because I also have a background in music where our family used to have like a family choir back in the church.
Okay.
So I realized how music is instrumental in healing.
Yeah.
And this is why many people usually ask me, what genre of music do you like? I tend to not have one.
Yeah.
I tend to lean towards music that are personal. Like kuna ngoma ya Mturil inaitwa My Story. Anaongea story ya madhake na budake I think alikuwa victim of extrajudicial killing. So nalinigi towards those really personal stories. Because I can identify with them and because often I feel like hip hop is more performative. There's a lot of invulnerability for a long time.
Yes.
But then later I found out that akina gangsters like Scarface used to rap about them. Like one of my best songs in it, All That I Got Is You, Ali go hard, akireflect kwa life yao. It's very conscious. So then also kuna ngoma ya Immortal Tech inaitwa You Never Know. When Nicki passed on, that was my soundtrack. Like I felt like it told my story.
Yes.
It's so man, your track ilitoa from a bad place.
And you know, I keep we say let's give flowers where they are due. It was most of us who know Immortal Technique from those days. We got to be introduced to Immortal Technique by Mwafrika.
Mwaf, YFM, and
the current host of
the joint.
Big up Mwafrika, Iko Nene. And okay. So now I can relate now from the You Never Know, and I think I have also that kind of inclination to music, and sometimes I also talk to Elijah Moz, and we are like, mbona tunapendanga hizi ngoma sad?
Ngoma sad nigga hours. That's why. And then also coming from why Meeting the Eclipse was hard because first of all I used to write cryptically.
Yes,
I still do.
This was your first CD?
First proper album. I would say. There are 3 albums before it, but I'd call it my first album because it's the one that I packaged and gave it to people.
You were intentional with it.
Yes.
Finally produced?
Kuna Mike Woods produced it and MC Spook at Vitex Records iko Eldoret. So imagine the album to record in a night. We recorded 47 songs.
So you had already written the songs?
No. We were recording on the studio, on set.
47 songs?
Yes. I was so angry. I needed to express myself. And I say, wamenipea booth. And they were so supportive. I was sick, I remember. I arrived in Eldoret at around 7:30. We went, kuna malichum fulani huko karibu na garage, karibu na Rive. We had Chapo Madondo. I remember very clearly. Then we went to the booth. Okay, so you do your thing. So most of them, they were just supportive. They have only supportive verses. Most of the verses were mine. Sometimes I would drop off the hook. I wouldn't follow the beat. So nilikuwa na challenges mingi, but most of my intention was kuji-express. Kuitoa. So you find most of the songs are not very good, but Meeting the Eclipse, Letter to the Poets, Guns N' Roses, na Bustani ya Nafsi, they are good because I feel like I nearly get the beat, nika flow vizuri, the delivery was, but the others are too off. Sometimes unaenda off the beat.
But mwenye mimi nakujua kama msanii wa spoken word more than
hip hop because ideally we are minimum to car like Common, because also Common started as a poet and their verses are poetic, more poetic than hip hop. There's a way, like I told you, hip hop is supposed to be written. It has some golden rules. Zenye watu hufuata. So I used to find it really hard even to find a beat that suits my even vocabulary and flow. And I later deviated when I started doing like kuna MC anaitwa Ka.
MC Ka.
So and then Kunimbichi. You remember Kunimbichi?
Issues na inakwanga nini? Showbiz na issues.
Afu kuna Kenneth B.
Pal.
Alafu so when I started noticing these other MCs, niliona actually there's a way I can
ulikuwa unaendanga slam poetry?
West.
Oh, okay.
So nilikuwa naona so I can actually do this.
Yeah.
Remember, I still go with a script and I just recite it. It was more like even rapping.
Yeah.
You're gonna recite to talk, and then I felt nice after it.
Yeah.
And then plus times hata sina idea I would share the story. Unataka tu record.
So what you're putting down on paper is actually your psychological journey through struggling with your treatment.
Yes.
You're just
mziki kuna vile iliact kama therapy.
Yeah, it was. Like I told you, I was using it for therapy. Actually, that is why that's also why I never put myself out there, because I felt after I had recorded, me shani fulfill. It was later when akina Spook waliniambia, by the way, your story is too powerful. Usikae tu nayo. Package it upe say.
Yeah, let it out there.
Yes, it came, I think I only did it after Janian. So kuna album ya Luo I did, it's called Hempco.
Yeah.
In 2015, then 2017. That's when I was told now I have 3 years to live. So nimeenda home. I have no friends. I was supposed to graduate in 2014.
Yeah.
Most of my classmates have graduated. They've moved ahead in life.
Yeah.
Nimejaribu kuishi now, but I used to feel like a burden. So every time I felt like I was feeling like a burden, nilikuwa najitoa naenda kwa beshte mwingine. But you can only have only so much friends. So when I felt like I have exhausted all my friends, niko na jo, me najitoa. So one day after a clinic in KNH, I went to Ambassador. Kulikuwa na jamaa anaitwa John, alikuwa nauzaga sweetie hapo Ambassador kwa kona kabisa. He was a person living with a disability.
Yes.
So jamaa alinisaidia sana, and then I met another guy anaitwa Mwas. Mwas used to be...
What was your conversation with John?
With John, mostly about life. Alikuwa ananiuliza sasa mbona uko na crutches mbili? So we were in PWD. So we used to bond over that. That's our first bonding. But more and more, the more I found like I related to him, the more I introduced him to my story.
All right.
So I used to be in there for a month. Sometimes nikifeel nataka kuoga, I used to go to my student anaitwa Rogers.
Yeah.
So I'd go to Chiromo kwa hostel, nioge alafu nirudi street.
Wow.
Remember this time you're homeless, but...
Wait. So you've stayed with your friends.
Yes.
This is not working out. Where is your daughter at this point?
My daughter now has been taken by the grandma. They're living and they are not in the country anymore. Yeah, they moved to Geneva. Yes.
So now you can also not see her.
Yeah, I can also not see her.
Now, you've moved from friend to a point where you've now given up and you're living on the streets. So this is where now you're meeting John and becoming acquaintances.
Yes.
And now you're talking about life. He's a person with disability. You're facing your challenges. You're still sick. How are you handling your treatment and still being homeless?
First of all, up until I think nilikat treatment, I think I knew I wanted to die. Nilikuwa nimelose hope kabisa. Nilikuwa nimefika mwisho.
So ulikuwa umefika mwisho juu ya the financial constraints.
Mostly the financial health, and then also nilikuwa na feel niko na burnout flani. And I felt like I don't want to do this anymore. Most cancer patients ufika your place. And in many developed countries wanaendaga euthanasia, where you do assisted, I don't want to use the word because it's sensitive. But we do mercy something.
Yes.
You get euthanized.
Yeah.
But for me, they go for what is called palliative care.
Yes.
Or end of life care.
Yes.
So
at this point, you're saying your daughter was in?
My daughter was in Geneva at that point.
Na mbona kutaka kwenda huko, at least hapo unge get better health care nini?
One is because that they are not my direct family.
Okay.
And then also I feel I've never said it on radio, but I feel like they were also worried about the consequence of my health to my daughter.
Okay.
So I feel like even them taking a distance was more of their response towards the possibility that I could die.
Yes.
And them protecting my daughter from that trauma.
And then the experience of also seeing you struggling through it.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was tough. So I remember one particular thing with the reason why Mwas is important, because Mwas was a street kid. So Mwas used to go and hustle, and jioni alikuwa nakujaga na papers. This is an exam. And then he used to tell me, prof, alikuwa nitaga prof. Ni makie hizi, nishafanya. So
wait, Mwas is this guy on the street?
No, the street kid. Yochana na John.
Okay,
John was the vendor.
Yes.
Mwas is somebody, a street kid I later found and bonded with.
All right.
Yeah. So remember, I'm so sick. and I have cut treatment.
Yes.
And I feel like a burden. I feel like I don't have a home anywhere amongst my friends and within my family. The reason is I felt like I should be strong or I should have things figured out.
Yeah.
I felt like if I go to my grandma, she'll feel sad. So na feel ni kama, hey, mazee, wacha tu ni kazane, maybe things will change. But things are not changing. Unaelewa? So uko stuck kwa hii place, huwezi ambia mabeste zako. Unaambia wakikucall, like I remember Benzo used to call me, unarudi lini? Naambia nitarudi too soon.
Na hiyo time mboka unapiga wapi? Hiyo time mboka unapiga wapi?
Sina mboka.
Na unadishiaje?
Mwas.
Yeah.
So Mwas anaenda na hustle.
Yeah.
And kuhustle ni kubeba mzigo za watu
kutafuta mapepa, hizi scrap papers.
Big up Mwas.
And walikuwa napeleka Chandarana.
Na bado yuko?
Mwas is there. Mwas ako I don't know if I should say it. Yeah, but Mwas ako KU.
Nice.
Ako third year, so he has actually sponsored him through school.
Wow.
And I struggle. We have a story I'll tell some other day. I struggled with him from being a Form 2 dropout to being into rehab, in and out. Hadi sai anafanya
yani bado ulikuwa na strength ya kusaidia mtu mwingine.
Medical engineering.
I think
it's nguvu unatoka. Hebu tupeleke na rada tujue.
So siku nilikuwa naenda home, nimerealize sasa I have to go back home.
Yeah.
I had 1,000 bob. Nilienda country bus, nikakata tiko. I remember back then kwenda Sondu was 750.
Na hii 1,000 ni Mwas bado amekutafutia?
Hii nilijitafutia tu.
Okay.
So niko na 1,000 bob, nikakata tiko 750. Then hii 250 libaki.
Yeah.
Nilifinya kwa mkono ya Mwas. Nikampea Jaco. I had a very big trench coat ya my grandpa. It was an old trench coat.
Yeah.
So I remember how they were looking at me. Split whether wakuje na mimi ama ni waache tu waishi tu life yao.
Yeah.
But it was a sad place. It was sad. I've never felt sad about a brother like that.
Wow.
You know, because this is somebody I met in a short duration and easily they became like a close confidant. And given their situation, they were still kind and compassionate to me. And that's why sometimes I'm very passionate about street kids. I'm very passionate about children's home where I usually volunteer.
Yeah.
So nili realize help can come anywhere. And sometimes where you least expect it, hapo ndo inakam. And then also it also allowed me to bridge gaps because as human beings tunaona maringo zingine hazifai. Una mtu kwa the other side of the bridge. Then you always feel like machokosho wanaparemba watu kwa traffic.
Yeah.
Well, that is not the case. These are human beings at the end of the day, you know.
Unajua anything inaweza happen to anybody. Hiyo ndo kitu watu wajua.
Na ujui story yake kwa nini alilanda hapo.
If anything at that point you have had a bank job, you have had good education. And you are living the same lifestyle as a Chokosh, not because you wish to be there. And I think that is something that also needs to sink into people's heads, that you don't always choose where you find yourself, but you can choose how you deal with that.
To it,
Yes.
Na at this point umekuwa create bado.
Nilikuwa nimecreate to meeting the eclipse. So when I go home, I stay home, and the truth is I went home to die, and I knew it was going to happen soon. Hata nikiwa home, it's very funny. There's a time kulikuwa na nduru. There's a old mother alidedi alipass hapo 2 neighbors from our home, and people kept flocking at our home because they thought it was me, because they knew it was me, not think. And I used to still struggle because one things I love doing at home ni kupeleka ngombe malishoni, like just going to graze. I love it. It's therapeutic in some way, you know. So I used to still struggle in my frail health. Jupia staki kuambia mokoro, like, you know,
anytime ukiwaocha healthcare nayo.
Nilikuwa nimecut kila kitu. I'm not even taking pain meds, and the pains were crazy, bro. Yani unalia kama mtoto mdogo. And I remember when my grandmother usually tells me, sometimes nilikuwa ukihema, onjo vile you are so thin hadi ribs inaonekana, ukihema it takes some time, you think the guy has lost the breath completely. And then unaona inarudi.
Na wase waocha walitekaje hii ugonjwa yako?
It was tough for them, but I think I had
not the family necessarily, like
there was a lot of stigma because home ni kama gutter fresh.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I was telling you when there was somebody who died, they thought it was me.
Yes, yes.
Because kuna wagana rumors, nani mtoto wa nani Nyakoro Chuka, the grandson of Ochuka,
Yeah.
and he's so sick. I don't think he's gonna make it. Unaelewa? So there's a lot of stigma and there's also a lot of hopelessness because people knew that if you have cancer, haunaga chance ya make it. So it was just a matter of time. Mnangoja tu time.
Yeah.
You know, I survived that by a whisker. One day nimeenda na ng'ombe kwa mlima. Place yetu ni plateau, so it's a very beautiful scene.
Yeah.
And I also used to love that scene because sometimes this is also something I might also encourage our listeners. Ukiwa kwa ngori, jaribu sana. There's usually a huge inclination to draw the curtain down kujifungia kwa nyumba.
Yeah.
Try very hard.
Yes,
Najua ni ngumu, but try, go outside. You'll see
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you'll see the difference. One thing that openness allowed me is to see that my reality is not singular.
Okay.
Unaelewa? Inaku open mind.
Yeah.
Inakushow there's so much vastness you do not know. And even though you feel trapped,
Yeah.
hii space yote unaona, that's all for you. It opens you up. And that's the thing with nature walk. That's the thing with us. You know, tukitembea tunaenda tao, tumetoka pa.
In fact,
bigger story.
Even when you read most religious books, they talk of alienda kwa mlima. By the way, and funny enough, it is in Christianity, it is in Islam, it is in the monks.
Even amongst us as Africans, we used to go to the mlima.
Exactly.
You know, so I'd encourage you to have a very intimate relationship with nature because nature is your first healer. If you harness it, if you take care of it, that's your first healer.
Yes.
So I think when I went there, one day I collapsed uko juu mko mlima, my grandmother was worried, alituma watu, then akanipata nimecollapse. One of the cows alikuwa give birth.
Yeah.
So alikuwa nanilik uso. That's the only thing that saved me. Without it, if the cows went back home, labda would have died. So that's how they moved.
So they actually were tracing kwa nini ng'ombe hazijarudi nyumbani.
Na huo nilikuwa narudi around 2 to 3 na wapea maji alafu nawafungia alafu na chill kwa keja. Nasikiza muziki.
The relationship with animals again, when they know that you take care of them, they also take care of you.
Yes.
And this applies even for dogs.
Yeah, for dogs, for pets. Yeah. So.
Anyway, this is Gift of Gab, your number one hip-hop talk show on Power Radio with your main man Elijah Mose. We have a guest today. His name is
Omondi Chuka in the building.
Yes.
na ule bombe huko.
DJ CJ in your house.
Anyway, tunataka tuingie kwa muziki kidogo.
Yes, sir.
Tukirudi tutachukulia mali tumeacha. So Power Radio, tune in, power up.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
How can time heal if time is wounded of itself? These clocks have gathered moss. Look at their souls. I went we all power dies lost. Feathers growing through stretch marks of graves. Reminded that to rise we must remain. Subtle in imagination, but they're all stuck against the unruly hero moments of life. But what's time separated from itself? I still break a piece of my soul and throw pellets into my bloodstream full of sharks. Even the dangers of derangement, the audacity to defy clarity, the thick posthumous satires of old forests, rotting on the walls of my home. I still walk to flower shops with the barrel overdue. I still laugh like God's menses are in the morning dew, eroded, peeled off, wrinkled raisins and black-eyed pea. And with the back crossed chest, I still self-preserve, self-destruct, shelf these bars, gravy batch, I still drip, drops, moon clouds of a widow sorrow. There is no tomorrow, today is infinitesimal. Gone the clover like a sad butterfly packing for its funeral. Yesterday is gone, body of salt and a life full of wounds. These questions, each petal, pedals, an arm of God, an army crawls, rebels, done these manifolds, manifestos, money payroll, unchain the jungle, totems and guns, lands and votes, redeem your soul without the cadaver on the cross. But see, I've been loud about my silent nights, lonely, drowning deep, dying to have known this is Mike, written on the woods. I am because I am. Joe the sea, trivia the candlelight vigil, facing the hearts of raging winds. Unplug the cables, what you are afraid of. Question, bondage, answers the self, afraid of itself. The spotlight is hollow, not charming as the influence of observation. So we nine millimeter past brains afraid of the crying pictures in valleys of unstoppable doubting. My mind is instrumentalist. I dare gods for their sick humors. I am rare, sublime pair of abyss, breathing dragonfly, fire comatose, and I refuse to give up.
Mantra, dua, night warrior. Night, she's a flashback to any time, any moment. Neza toko na soul man. To any day, juu ya ground above, wanasema ni blessing. Kabla tupe mbali, uangaliwe chini ambao na glesi. Kile mebaki ni kuhadithia kwa njia, sio kwa bahati mbaya. Tunaishi kama ua juu ya grave, fresh tumekuza pain, nafsi na uma. Maisha gereza, picha zetu zinaflika, flashing light. Mikosi inatokea, alafu na do time, the clock is blind. Bio speedy, sauti za mauti, uko alive, so najua blade ndofanya ukunga unakuwa bloody. Jeans vako, rusha D-blocks, nema ni mahora tu. It's Air Force, OCH, UKA. Hini kwa masoja wangu ndani ya struggle. Put the back meli, oyu award na kachogero. Jeans dapo, ngazi na kasoro. Wezangu weki wako blacklist. Mapitio, leo nauza duka. Kesho dunia imekuweka maisha ndani ya chupa. Hauna dhamana wala azimio, leo na blast na full blast. Tafu siku ingine unapigania uhai. Body ina fight back, mali yako wanajua ni theater. Lakini umetengea, umebakia kuwa bega. Unaugua ugonjwa deadly, so yako wameiweka kwenye stretcher. Wanasema kwa love hakuna remedy, kustruggle ndo stay afloat. Kila siku una heavy grief, madawa matibabu zimefail, so nikingoja kifo miu breathe. Don't give up homie, nikiwa low na swill soul yangu juu ya wire kanguo za dobi. Ndani ya fani umekufuru kwa hizo kanda, walikutupia mua juu ya geneza. Zilada imetafsiri mwisho wa mchezo. Sometimes unajikuta ukitazama life yako ina go down tragically.
I'm a warrior, coming to this fight, yeah. In the dark night, coming to bring light, yeah. I'm a warrior, coming to this fight, yeah. In the dark night, coming to bring light, yeah. I'm a warrior, coming to this fight, yeah.
Wale wana find inspiration in my story. Ukikuza wino unawacha melancholia juu ya mafikra. Symphony ni ya saba. After Kiwas niliona picha mbaya Polonia kwa scan kama ikaze. Tosikutaka hii blend kucrush. Mbala mwezi ndo nipea huruma na love. Tunuru ikizama staki niathirike ni die sad. Jukila love song ndo ni mind trip very far. Garika ndo nifanya nijitenge na watu. Sampler zimejaa blues, mingi opera na jazz. Naomba msiba uniondoke nikifeel. Body yangu ina cramp, body yangu ina shot. Bado mi utazama juu nikijuliza why you. Dunia ikichange rangi, imewachwa blue. Bado mi wa close to the phone. Juu any day miracle inaweza happen through the call. Hold up bro, na kila nikiput soul yangu kwa hii craft. Nasikiza soul yako ina fire back. Sina idea kautasikiza hii track. Sijui vile neza eka life yako kwenye verse. Truth reigns above, romileta bazenga to disorder my imposter. Hini kwa ma soul such as villa soul. Sijui ka tunge survive na maujanja. Vita ili tukuta in our prime. Sometimes tulibaki bovu bila pa kugeukia. There was a lot of things in life that brought me pain, but when I hear you breathe, I know everything will be okay. Nacheki mami kila day, nina hold on. Nacheki mami ana pray, nina get strong. This too shall pass and it won't be long.
I'm a warrior, coming to this fight, yeah. In the dark night, coming to bring light, yeah. I'm a warrior, coming to this fight, yeah. In the dark night, coming to bring light, yeah. I'm a warrior, coming to this fight.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Woza bana rada yo.
So tunashikilia wapi?
Hebu kwanza niambie ngoma imetoka initoaje tena?
Hiyo intro Light Warrior.
Hiyo ngoma ni mzito.
Light Warrior.
Yeah.
Imeproduciwa na nani?
Imeproduciwa na Mike Woods of Mantra Records ako Eldoret.
Big up sana.
Yeah. Asikia manzana kuangana na beats zingine za
kuua. Ajabu. Like but sahi nadhani ame-expand catalog yake, anaweza produce nearly anything.
Alright.
He started out as a poet, Eldoret Poets Association, unakumbuka hizo enzi? Kina Oteba, kina Daniel Meni. Yeah, hizo enzi. So check him out if you want some good dope beats.
Na we nini ilikufanya ukastick to bomba ama umekuwaga tu hip hop head from way back?
From way back nimependa hiyo sound, and because I felt like it could allow me to stammer in the mid.
Okay. That was before trap came and people.
Yes. He switched up stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then plus I feel like boom bap is a golden hip hop sound. So for purists, like I am a purist, I'm still stuck in the old ways. So unless sahi naweza fanya spoken word, so I might do away with the kicks. And maybe have just riffs and snares, but I still love the boom bap sound. It's beautiful. It's a bob head. I love it. I grew up with it, so yeah.
Nilikuwa nataka utupeleke na rada juu hizi album vile zilikam kukua. Zikiwa mingi hivyo.
First of all, I used to want to do an album every year. So Meeting the Eclipse is 2015. Embko Magiyiko, which is in translation, it's a purely Doluo album. It's called The Graveyard Stretch. Remember, I told you I used to write cryptically.
Yeah, and have you even noticed
even the titles?
The titles for Meeting the Eclipse.
Yeah,
it will give you that vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Hemkumagiko means the graveyard stretch. It means I was coming to terms with death. Remember, I've met my eclipse. I've met my story.
And who she accept?
And then now I'm going through the graveyard stretch.
When you're feeling ya tseme unajua unakam kudai. Ina feeling yaje? Hata kama umeaccept.
It's tough. Una feeling ni kama life yako iko cramped. Ni kama uko on borrowed time.
We are all
on borrowed time, but it becomes more aware, more real.
So nika kuna vitu ulikuwa unataka kuachieve before your time. And one of the things I've always wanted to work with Ted, or there's a producer called Tabu Susa. I know him from Ketebo.
Yes. So actually Hemko Magiko was supposed to be produced by Tabu Susa.
Alright.
But coming up, mimi sikwagi mtu aggressive, I would say that. I'm always chilled, and then also I had a self-doubt. Like most of the time, I would say I'm not a very good rapper. But I write well. My pen is good. So I really struggled with approaching top producers, even though some of them tulikuwa tunakutana Power, Sarakasi, Wapi and all that. So I ended up recording because MC Spook took me in literally, and they kept on pushing me. Him and Woods, Woods, and there's a friend of mine called Kwame Miguda. So Kwame also goes by the name Logical Truth. Shout out these people. And then my cousin Reiki. These are 4 people who were essential in my music. Like they literally told me, you can do this even if you don't know how to rap. But you telling your story and then sharing it out there, it's still something. And then I also learned that yes, some people are good freestylers, some are really good writers, some are good in both. They can make beats like Riza, you know. Anaweza make beat, anaweza dunda, anaweza fanya anything, you know. So I became more confident. I don't have all the range of the skills, but
you
I
don't need everything. You can just concentrate on one good thing. Right?
So that's how I produce. And then
that is how now you're moving to Eldoret now.
Yes, and remember this time sasa from when I collapsed nilipelekwa MTRH. So you see where the story is developing. So that's how I produced the second album, and then the third album. I went to India in 2016. For a lot of people who know me, they knew me through what was called We Will Win. It was a fundraising drive.
I think
I remember Power 254 hosted through Fatuma's Voice, Rick Sonyango, Rick's Poet. Shout out to you. And then also Odur Jagero was also Odur Jagero, Richard Oduku, Adhiambo Agoro was my girlfriend back then. So these people, especially the creative space, poets, Marapa, Kina Traboli, Romi, 1183. Yo kambi mazee, wali come through sana. That's also when I met Jared Ombui and Bernard.
The underground.
So you see my story is expanding. I'm gaining people who think that, hey, but there your art, it's unique. Ndio wezi fanya hii, but I think it's still needed out there. So we did We Will Win, and that is actually what afforded me some money, especially the ticketing. We didn't have money. Maze tulikuwa tumeuza wase, all the things we had. We were auctioned. We had some dairy cows. I felt bad about it, but I was like, okay.
All this is being done for your treatment.
Yes.
So when the president today says that families are really disenfranchised by healthcare. This is something that has really happened to you.
It has happened to me. It has happened to a lot of people I know.
True.
You know, so I think I usually feel like my story is our story.
Yeah.
Because without all the support that I got from people,
Yes.
I don't think I would have made it.
Yes.
And that calls to like there's something I love about Kenyan spirit. I know we have our own issues and we can be very mean and bullish.
Yes.
But on the flip side, we can also be very compassionate and supportive people.
True.
You know, to not come through. And one thing I don't like about how some people tend to take advantage by conning people and making it harder for other genuine cases that come up to be supported.
Very true.
So let's just be more vigilant.
Yeah.
Let's not give up our compassionate spirit.
Yeah.
That is what defines us as Kenyans. We love each other. We may fight often, but it's not what defines us. What defines us is our compassion towards each other.
Really.
And this is something we can extend to the next neighbor, but most importantly, extend it to yourself, because you can't give whatever you don't have.
Yeah, true.
If you'll be giving it, you'll be giving it because it's just a performance.
Yeah.
Very true.
But when it comes from within, sincerely,
Yeah.
that's some truth, bro.
True.
You know.
Okay, so hii time umekamu hiyo drive ya kukuchangia ganji ulikam ndo ulikuwa umerudi Nairobi sasa?
Yeah, ndo sana nilikuwa nirudi Nairobi.
Ukakama uka reunite with your fellow poets.
Yeah.
And Fatuma's voice umesema ilikuwa one of the
Fatuma's voice was very instrumental.
When
Street poetry.
Fatuma's voice ilikuwa power.
Yeah, ilikuwa power actually. Yes.
Kwa hivyo power before mko na history.
Yeah, we have a history. I remember ulikuwa kukumbi. It was very good.
Na tunakuita guest kumbe si mgeni.
We si mgeni power bro. It's just that I was in the back bench. Kwa home. Ni wa Ingoba na. Yeah.
So when you came back, you continued now creating and producing more albums.
So
who were you working with back then?
It's still the same producer, still Spook, but I didn't create in 2016 until I came back from India after 7 months.
All right, okay.
It was tough in India because one, we didn't get the money we needed. It was 4.7 million.
Okay, yeah.
What only helped me is AP Insurance, where I told you I was working, well in pay 1.8.
Big up.
Yeah, and the contribution tulikuwa tumemake totally for 4 months of fundraising was 467,000.
Okay.
So remember, we still have more than 2.5 million.
Yes.
So tukienda India, you know, it was just like, it's your heart is in your hands. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But things were like, I got really lucky, bro.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Like you went alone?
Yeah, the lead doctor just told me I'm gonna cut off 50% of my fee.
What?
Yeah.
That was God sent, man.
Yeah. In a new country, you don't know anybody.
Alone.
Yeah, and it's really it was tough.
Yani uko na booster?
Yeah.
Ya kwenda ulienda one man?
Yeah. Okay. You know, it was tough. So
ulikuwa na will. Ulikuwa na will.
Yeah. Because also you see sometimes mazee watu wamekushow up, people have sacrificed, wengine wako na kula lunch ndo watoe 100. I remember when you were running the hashtag #Forochuka on Twitter.
Yeah.
People were saving lunch money 100 bob, you know, and you feel like kama msee anakuaminia hiyo story. I mean, why are you giving up? Yeah. Uni msee anakuamini na anasema this guy has the potential, he can heal. You know, just keep on going, bro. And though the money was not what we needed, the statement, you know, that compassionate statement, like we got you, was very important to me, and I think it pushed me really forward. And that's the power of community. And that's also what we are championing even at Power Radio, the power of community. In terms of coming up and collaborating, in terms of coming up and highlighting issues amidst us. This is who we are. That's our power. You know, this literally our power. So when I came back, that's when I recorded Keywords in Neurology. Like I told you, the titles are very deliberate. Remember,
hiyo ndo time nilikujua sapo.
Yes. So remember this time hata nikienda India, I was in a bad shape. So when I came back, I was told I only have 3 years to live. And because also I didn't get to do the 2 phases of treatment, I only did 1 due to finances. I had to come back. So unarudi back, shingo upande, you don't know whether you're going to make it or not.
But ukitoka India ulikuwa a bit better.
Yeah, nilikuwa a bit better. So that's when I did Keywords in Neurology. Keywords in Neurology, this is, let's just say it for what it is. It was a suicide letter.
Oh.
Yes, because when I wrote it, I went to cyber cafe as a place called Kiplombe.
Okay.
Iko LD. Watu wako Kiplombe, big up sana wenye wako Kidiwa, particularly Kidiwa. It's a small old estate.
Okay.
So when I wrote it, I went to print it kwa hiyo cyber cafe. I used to go there to download music and sometimes just chill and do my stuff.
Yeah.
But when I printed it, I didn't take it. Yeah.
Okay.
I left it on the printer.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I came back, you realize for people who have cures in neurology, it has a question mark.
Yeah.
I was asking myself, will I ever only be cured after I am dead? Because now you are questioning, you are in touch with your mortality face to face. And you know that, yes, every human being is living on borrowed time, but now it is realer.
For you at least.
Kuna pieces kadhaa nilisikianga kwa hiyo project kwa radio.
Yeah.
At your point, were you bitter or something?
No, I wasn't bitter. I was completely released. Yeah.
You had come to terms with
I'll
it.
come to terms with
Kuna
dedication.
piece nilisikia Nicole kuna najiuliza maswali. Sikumbukagi ilikuwa inaitwaje poa.
I think that's cures in neurology, the title itself.
Yeah, need some questions you're asking.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also kuna dedication to melancholia. I think I dedicated to my daughter.
Yeah.
There's a skit where I sampled Jeff Koinange. We had an interview with him on KTN.
Right.
So that one was telling our story as cancer survivors.
Oh, okay.
Kuna audacity. You remember now I was telling you I had already gotten over the why question.
Yeah.
I have the audacity to just live my life. Ikinikuta sawa. If I survive, very good. I still keep on with my life.
Yeah.
Then from 2017, 2018, I did a double CD called Journey and Soul. Remember now you're going more within. And then you're realizing I have a light within, and I cannot be selfish with it. This is also the thing that we, even at Power, we also believe in. True. Active citizens driving for change.
Yes.
Because every one of us has something unique, including a worldview. Kuna worldview yenye CJ akona ama Bena, our producer, has that always. I cannot replicate it. You can't replicate it. But if you present it, it might be the only agency for a change in our community.
Very true.
So our contribution really matters. So when I did Journey and Soul, it was a double CD.
Where did you do it?
I also did it in Vitex in Eldoret.
Okay.
Yes. So that's also MC Spook production, na Mike Woods, na Kwame Miguda.
Yeah.
That I think is where I was now comfortable as an artist.
Okay.
Yes.
Now the confidence has kicked in.
Yes. And it's also the album I usually feel is, well, I don't know. I'm split between it and Do I Nafsi.
Okay.
My magnum opus, like something that I'm really proud of.
Yes.
And then actually I did 3 albums in that year, 2018.
Wow, you're really overcompensating.
Yeah, there's also Acute Melancholia.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm really sad about it. There's a track where I am talking about Remember Me.
Okay.
That was Ken Ring's production. I remember I reached out, but it didn't materialize. But I asked for this particular beat because I remember now my daughter is living in Sweden.
Yes.
And she's learning Swedish, and Ken Ring is in Sweden. And I told her, there's somebody I like there. And this song has been really inspiring me. So she told my daughter was telling me, so why don't you write something about it?
Okay.
So that's how I wrote Remember Me. That's also where there's memories of Kuria, like memories of my past journey.
Yeah.
That's also where there is Chajabu. Chajabu is political. If you play it, sometimes when I play it, it's like I was prophesizing things are happening politically now. You should play it sometimes, I think, so that And that's also when I moved past being a victim.
Yes.
And I was more spiritual.
Okay.
And I was more confident that my story does matter, not only to myself, but to people, especially those who have been supportive of my journey.
Yes.
That's why Journey and Soul. So the journey does not only include mine, it includes people now. And then the soul is just going within, self-actualizing.
Yes.
So you're expanding yourself internally, but you're also looking that, yes, my journey might be unique to me, but it includes the story of others.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just cancer survivors, people just going through their own way of life. And then from 2019 was my best year.
Yeah.
Because during 2018 September, I got better. I got what is called a remission. Remission is when ukiko kwa hiyo place yenye there is no trace of cancer in your body.
Okay.
Remember, it coincides with when I was supposed to die.
Wait.
Because
After 3
in
years,
2016 I was supposed to die. So ideally around 2019 I should have been gone.
Yes.
But I'm getting better in 2018
You
all of a
started living
sudden.
again.
Yes.
Wow.
I usually call it a placebo effect. For people, scientists who know, placebo is when when you're doing something called a trial experiment study or clinical study.
Yes.
Sometimes they can give you the real drug, or they can just give you water or a pill.
Oh,
just
yes,
carry.
the placebo. Yes. I've
And
got
then you
that.
might find somebody is getting better,
Yeah.
thinking that they were taking the real meds.
Yes.
So I tend to feel like the work I did internally
Yeah.
contributed so much. It included the artwork I was doing. I was actively on volunteering. I was doing volunteering work at Africa Cancer Foundation.
Right.
We registered our own cancer society by my friend. I don't know, most of you know him, Jadudi. He passed on.
Okay.
Yeah, I also was volunteering at Faraja. Most of you know Faraja. I was volunteering at Kijabe and Kenyatta National Hospital, especially the pediatric ward.
Yes.
Like, remember I told you I'm very passionate about kids.
Yes.
So this thing kind of gave me that hope. And it I don't know whether it was a distraction, but it removed my shift from the damnation of my story.
Okay.
Unaona ni kama si we sana anymore. You have a power. Even though it might be not so good, but you have a power still to do something. And that's actually contributed largely to my healing process, including the music that I created. So Do I Nafsi, I created it during that time. Do I Nafsi, like I told you, I was moving more inward. So there's a spiritual aspect of it. That's where there's Dia Maria. That's where I also sampled my grandfather in track 1. That's also where I'm also tributing my buddy Jadudi, passed on. That's also where I write a letter to my daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, I think it's my best personal album for those. I'm very confident about it. And then after that I took a break. I wrote extensively between the corona period. I didn't get to travel because I was on and off. Like, remember I told you it's not just cancer that many cancer patients deal with. So you always deal with a lot of other complications that are called comorbidities. So I was dealing with a lot of other issues, including hypertension, the arthritis. I was mostly sick, in and off the hospital.
All right.
Yeah, and then you're also prone to infection because your immunity has been compromised.
Yes.
So sikuweza kuingia stu for that period. And then 2022, which was very tough, I lost my uncle, who was like a brother to me. He was my maternal mother's last born brother. He is very instrumental to me because one, he was more, when my grandfather died, he sort of stepped in as a father figure to me. And then he was also very encouraging of my artistic expression. So when he died, it powered me into just doing art. And that's when I created a triple album. It's called Proof of Life.
Unatoka tu single, double, triple.
Yes.
So
hapo umeanza kulive sasa.
Alafu, there's something now I'm noticing there. The beginning of the albums, it's like you're going down a valley and then you're bouncing back with Proof of Life.
Yes.
What's the mental situation
so
there?
Proof of Life was very positive.
I
think it was the epitome of my self-actualization. So nishaji realize, nishaji find out, I have already won my story. I've already known that even if I go today, I've done something that is meaningful to people. And I am not afraid to confront my pain or my trauma whenever they come, because people don't heal fully.
Yes. It's a
Kuna days
process.
itakulemea. It does not mean that you have not healed. It just means that you're going through a rough period.
True.
So Proof of Life is when I coined. One day, I love journaling a lot. In fact, most of all my songs are journals.
Okay.
They began as journals.
Yes.
So when I was journaling, one day I was sitting down and I said, Proof of Life. I said, oh, nishaishi, like nimeishi.
Yeah, man.
So I was looking at myself. If somebody were to look at Omondi Ochuka, then they would say, hey, Mazigum say, ni Proof of Life.
Yeah, man.
Ameishi. Then that's how I coined the Proof of Life, the album. Then at that time, I was also running a podcast.
Yes.
Which was named Proof of Life. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. I am somebody who struggles with sleep a lot due to pain.
Yes.
So every time I would wake up at 3 a.m. and I would just record what's on my mind. So that would be the Proof of Life.
Yes.
So Proof of Life was there, and then there was also Mbala. Mbala is a scar in Luo. And then there's telomere.
Funny enough, Mbala in Kamba is the burns you get when you're very near to the knee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's very interesting. So we look at telomere. For those who do not know, telomere is the last end of a chromosome. When somebody is aging, go to scientific kidogo.
Yes.
Everybody, you're always aging
Yes,
at any
yes,
given moment.
yes,
so
yes.
chromosome kuna vile ina shorten the more you age.
Yes, yes.
That's called the telomere. That's
Yeah.
the end tail of a chromosome.
Yes.
So I was feeling like if my story is ending, and then I've also used at work, I've used what is called a dandelion. It's a weed. Watu wajui inakaigi feathery na white. Ukipuliza hivi,
Yes,
ina fly. You know, so remember I've now actualized my story.
Yes.
And I'm feeling like life is so fragile. And it's also against the backdrop of Corona.
Yeah.
I've seen people die.
Yeah.
Most of my loved ones were far away. I didn't see my daughter for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm feeling like what is the ideal end of my story? And the ideal, I found out that I've left seedlings of me within my daughter and within the people that my story has touched.
Yes.
So it's no longer just an Ochuka story. It's also a story of people who have known me and people who will know me long after I have gone.
Yes.
Because I also know that even though I'm feeling better, you could go any minute. Corona just gave us that touch of adversity.
Oh yes.
Yeah, like any minute unaona mse and then unaambia mazee mse alienda.
Yeah, man.
Like I remember when I lost one of my best lecturers, alikuwa anaitwa Kenouko.
Yeah.
Kenouko just died. We talked to him on Thursday. He was asking me how are you, and then on Saturday I'm told he's gone. So against that backdrop, that's our again proof of life.
Yeah.
And then Balambala is basically the testimony of living.
Yeah.
Our scars, whether ulikuwa hurt na burns ama na knife ama ulikuwa na accident, ama emotional scars, or even spiritual scars, that does not mean that you are defective. Where's you obsolete? You are a valuable piece of story, and that is a testimony that umeishi.
Yeah.
You know, you look back. Yes. For mama, our daughters and our wives and our mothers, maybe you went through a C-section.
Sure.
So you went through the knife. When you look at it, you're like, hey, maze nikizaa mtoi wangu, nilienda through C-section. Look at him, or look at her now. So inakupea motisha. So that's how my albums have been set up.
Yeah.
And that's the story behind music and healing and therapy and going inwards and also giving back to the society as a reflection of who you are and a reflection of our art.
Yeah,
you know,
Buddha umeishi.
Yesterday we had this forum where Boniface Mwangi mentions that the former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga is opening a church.
Oh, really?
Now, that aside, if I was to ever open a hip-hop church.
Yes. Interesting.
For healing, I think you would be the Pope.
Oh, the Pope. That's an interesting one. Yeah.
You have an amazing story, and we are privileged to shine a light on it.
Thank you so much.
And we also appreciate people who have been a part of your journey.
Yeah.
And I hope this story really goes out there to also encourage some of us who are also going through stuff. Personally, I think it has answered a lot of my questions. Cancer is not an easy topic to handle.
Right.
I have lost earlier, as the year began, I lost a brother to cancer.
Sorry
and
about
I
that.
understand how those journeys are. As we speak right now, there's someone somewhere ailing. There's someone somewhere who has a relative who is ailing. And when we see stories of victory, we are not saying that all the stories will
have to be the same.
Yes, have to come out the same. But we are seeing that glimpse of hope that it is possible. And if you are undergoing treatment, don't give up. Look for things that will kind of distract you. Because when I heard you saying about when you were volunteering in so many places, I'm even thinking, were you even being paid, or were they even feeding you? But then I'm looking at it from the other side of it, that it gave you purpose to live.
Yes, it did.
It gave you purpose to live. And it is around this same period that now you're also being declared free of cancer when you should have been dead. And we appreciate the power of music. I always say music is very spiritual.
It is. It is. Ultimately,
it is very spiritual. And sometimes we have many arguments about music and the quality of music that people are putting out there.
Yeah.
And then we come and meet just one story like yours, and it satisfies my belief, my faith in music, in that it changes people's lives. And the fact that this worked for you, I think we will also now, as gift of gab, we will look at the chronology of the same way you have explained it to us. We'll look at the chronology of it and see a way that we were discussing off air, and I was telling you have to find a way of selling these CDs, and you were saying that you don't want to sell them, you want them to
Just
be,
reach out to people.
to be of help to people.
But kama kuna mtu anataka kubuy,
No, so for now, I advise that we will not have a conclusion on that, but we will get back to you on the way forward on it. But thank you so much, Amondi Ochuka, for coming through on this. And as we go to a music break, we will be coming back and now dealing with the things that you
policy,
learned.
formulation, lessons learned, insights.
There's this thing again that your story is so big, we cannot even contain it in the 3 hours we have. Because now we are in a position where we are transitioning as a country from the NHIF that you went through. You know the challenges that you dealt with, and now we are being proposed for another policy. We want to see, number one, what is your, because I also understand you know a lot about policy, which is a beautiful thing. And then you are also a lecturer, and you have done a thesis on matters health. I'm excited to hear what you think about everything that we are going through, and also to give the country a glimpse of, by the way, is tomorrow such gloomy, or is there hope? Yes.
Okay.
So back to the music a little bit, then we will be back.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Dear Maria.
I know I've let you down.
So, Maria.
I do believe I failed you.
Sorry, Mama.
I know I've let you down.
Danny. I cry every time I reminisce. Said I haven't seen a war for days. How many nights I thought I would die without even saying goodbye. Lately, I just don't breathe. I never feel alive. So now I heal through these memories. It's so hard to watch you struggle with your memories. I'm stuck in this sick body every day. I stare at my own grief. I write about my family every day. Ma, you taught me how to smile. Smart boy. Say grace to God. But deep down, I really lead us our life. Ma, you give life to me. They say I look exactly like you, sweet lady. Mama, sometimes it's your thoughts that keep me going through life. Rob me of joy, but the kind universe keep showing me love. I think about Francis every day, the only father I ever had. And I can't help but think myself an outcast who brought you shame. They say some pain don't go away. Mind be killing me, put my soul in flames. It's sad I had to grow up with all these questions in my head. It makes me sad, I never really found ways to grow without the blames. I'm sorry about the pain, Mama. I'm sorry for the trauma the life put you through, Ma. Dear Mama, I got a baby daughter, I named her after you. A sister and a mama, I hope they watching us from the moon. Like loved ones gone watching from far away. Dear Mama, there's nothing in this world that can stop me from loving you. Watch from my youngest son, from your oldest daughter. Your smile is beautiful, Lady Lando Nyakabuya. You taught me how to breathe, you give me courage and teach me how to dream. May love save me from the error of losing my faith. Aroma of fried rice and seasoned veggie. When you cook is sweet, I reminisce to the rainy days. Phone calls make me miss you when I'm far away. Smile like a little girl, you're gorgeous in your church dress. I'm the tears of joy in the only eye you got left. I'm the midnight monologues whenever you pray. I'm the pain deep in your bones. I'm the miracles in your sad songs. I'm the love for your sons and daughters and a father before. Even though we swim in rivers of lows, I want to dance with you in the wind blows, in the wind blows.
Believe I failed you. I know I've let you down. Sending my love to you. I love you. I love you.
Sometimes, Maria, I wish I could heal your soul. You're my only rose, my motive, chalkboard stains with the genes of my mother, you know. I'm the tall trees of glory. Ever since I picked the pen, it's been beautiful in these days filled with sorrow. You're my bandas in the universe. All these tracks have been only you and I in the verse. My first syllable of love, mama. My first encounter with the loving bosom of God. My first bitter taste of herbs. My first spoon of honey in August 1993. And even though, Maria, life may drift us away, life forgotten memories not tangled in your brain, I'll always remember. And even though, Marie, time destroys our clocks every day like fallen melodies that call upon us all to write you songs when you pray, I'll always remember your healing hands, water running over your back. The seed you sow gave us bread and love. We never lacked bells tolling. My heart skips whenever flower petals are falling, rains calling whenever they feed my veins with these drips. I can't see your eyes clearly, dear my old girl. Wrap your hands around me so I can feel safe. Send me love again when you pray, cause this world done change, become a very sad, lonely place. Dear mama, I let you down in a way. I hope that loving you wasn't one of them, mama.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Yo, Yeah. 1, 2. In 97 misimu zilikuza mao fresh kwenye farm. Pops alianza fili week, most days aliandika, most nights nano ilikuwa inakiwa soul yake vinyl ikizunguka gramophone. Beat yenyewe iko stuck kwa soul, mkono zake zina paint, pen yake vivid kwenye grand piano. Nika aliona future angeza hepa, alikuwa nafunza roho yangu dua la wino. Nikaa niko trap kwa hiyo breath, nikaa light yenyewe ni black. Natumia moyo wangu kuona juu imani shani wacha kwa mataa. Rev mirror, forward flashback. Natumia memories kujitunza donisi lose my path kwa theater viti za mbele. Naona life yangu ikiplay back to back. In 02 July 7th, siamini uli give up on me, ukaniwacha na maswali milele. Naiona surako kwa kila kitabu nasoma, ukageuka body, nafsi yako ikaenda mbali. Mkono ina tremble juu kila time naulizana Ventolin kwa inhaler ingeweza save your life. Uswara tu same 2002 Pops akachuno maua, akalala akawacha radio ikicheza Remi Ongala na blues. Ka risasi kwa soul, ile harakati yako wacha wafu kwenye chamber za morgue, au vile nyumbani voice yako kwenye streets ni warrant ya kukuangusha. Shots close, inji uliuziwa mamafia ni taxi bubu, rangi yake ni kaza disco ama underground casino yo.
Kila siku I'm thinking of you, na kuwaza milele. Kila siku I'm thinking of you, na kuwaza milele.
In 82 Air Force VOK, revolutionary OCH UKA. Mommy never raised no punk, so you know I got the warrior swimming in my blood. Syria na Libya wako under radar ya drone. Kila time kura inaanguka kwenye box, kuna rambi zaku tumanishwa mother anamo. Nilitelevise kama Reinhard Bonke, crusade ikiwasha ndo stima hupotea na crowd. Niliulizana why, akatabasamu akasema love ina miba kama crown. Mi tu ni mfungu anangoja soul yake kufichwa kwenye clouds, so lights zikienda down low, hata curtains jukwani zikidrone. Nilinyimwa maisha ya faraja, ska zangu nikadunga na mofi, nikageuka selfila, si rubber ni metal, vitu naandika shuttle ikivuka weather foggy za Timboroa 64 area code. Homie wangu wako juu ya mauchawi kwa track, kabla story yangu ngeuke story kama saitoti kwenye helikopter. Niko raw kabla kaseti yangu kuachwa ikiejectiwa na post 207, andika barua ya suicide. Love your mother kanitokea chini ya candlelight, so what's love got to do with this? Walisema news a diagnosis huwa kama tangazo ya kifo. Niko chini ya MRI machine, nimeplay chess na Reaper. Zile days niambiwa staiona zikawa tuma fantasy, si body imesurvive battles different na maradhi, imebaki naambiwa tu lucky me. Wenzangu weki wako in too deep, true colors to story. Ananishow kuna sniper ako juu ya mountain top, kuna watu wako na their back against the wall, kuna mtu anaishiwa hope anangoja climb up the rope. 3 doors down, zangu ni mind, body na soul. Hauko lethal, mind yako haiko loaded, uko body count, esteem yako iko bondage. Una play god na soul yako imeishiwa na casket. Niko na sinka ya kuzamisha email nikiwa trapped and I can't get out. Inachokora board yangu wakinivuta na trailer ndio nilazwe kwenye ward. So kila nikisikiza beat ka hii, nostalgia unifunika kwenye soul na heal off memories kama moth inakufia. Nuru ya stima kwa light na mirror kwenye face to face. Niko na fantasies, nafsi yangu tuna roll the dice, thinking ni mara ngapi nimekufa sijadai, ni siku ngapi nimetumia santuri kujikinga from the dark light, na the days ngapi niko mwani sijui kama nita get by. So ukisikiza soul yangu ina cry, you better think twice. The leap of faith 911, accidents would not happen twice.
Kila siku I'm thinking of you, na kuwaza milele. Kila siku I'm thinking of you, na kuwaza milele.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Woza bana rada yo.
Yeah.
Karibuni back to Gift of Gab, your number one hip hop talk show.
Yes sir.
We on Power Radio. Mali tunakuambianga tune in, power up. Leo tuko na mgeni venye tunakumbusha anaitwa Omondi Uchuka.
Yes sir.
Rapa mbad. Survivor wa cancer. Ni msem strong sana, hata nafaa kwa wida. Amesurvive mambo.
Yeah.
Story yake ni interesting sana.
Sana man.
But hii segment tunataka tuingie kwa historia ya SHIF, si ndio? We kulingana na wewe unaona ni tupeleke tunarada.
One thing that I've always told people that when you go to a new country, you look at key public facilities and institutions, and then you look at how institutions of governance are treating the citizens, especially the low class citizens. Wananchi wa kawaida yule. So if you find that they treat common mwananchi with dignity, then you know that this country has the potential to transform itself.
Yes.
But we have known that for a long time in our country, that has not been the case. We have almost a classist society where the distinction between the poor and rich is so distinct. And sometimes we feel like we are children of different gods for those who are believers. And that others don't even have a God. We don't have a father. We don't have a mother to defend us.
Yes.
We're just in our own, ghetto, in our own other side of the world. We're not living. We're merely existing. And so these disparities do show up almost in literally every aspect of life. From schools we go to hospitals we attend, to even churches we attend.
Very true.
And even friends we have. Such that it's very hard to communicate. Sometimes you communicate with somebody from the other side of life and they cannot grasp how you live mtaani, because it is so alien to them.
Ban.
Yeah.
And this is why we keep on saying that if we do our policy right,
Yeah.
then we are able to reduce these disparities significantly.
Yes.
And that is what has always pushed me as an economist and a policy analyst to be passionate about how we live, and also using my personal life and journey to make an imprint or a blueprint in life, like make a contribution in life. So over the life as we have known, I have used NHIF in and out. I know that it had good potential.
Yes.
And we know that NHIF has really evolved from it being only amongst the formally employed to including the informal sector, to changing subscription or premium, to including the 500 cap. Remember, if you're not formally employed, then you can pay 500 a month.
Yes.
To ex-president Uhuru Kenyatta introducing Linda Mama and Beyond Zero.
Yes,
All these
and
were very good initiatives.
The school cares.
Yes. So I think that sometimes as a people, one of the reasons why such things continue to happen is we don't have personal agency so much. Kuna kitu inatoka political apathy.
Yes.
As a country, huwa inafika mali unachoka. Because your voice is coarse, umepiga kelele sana. Hadi sasa, and then also tumejuagania kina nani ndo anapigaga kelele.
So you're labeled to be handled.
Yes. So uone ni kama wewe mwenyewe uko na voice na msimamo wako ama opinion yako ina matter kwa issues za governance.
Exactly.
And actually when a government is supposed to idealize or actualize a project or a proposal, they do something called public opinion.
Yes.
And then public participation.
Yes.
That means wanafaa waende mabarazani, pale kwa chief mtaani, ama kwa social halls, ama wafanye research polepole na wagather information from mwananchi.
Yes.
Because ultimately you are tailoring a policy to help this mwananchi.
Very true.
So it means you can't just sit in parliament and legislate. You can't just sit at Harambe House and legislate.
Yes.
You have to be in touch with the reality. And when I usually tell my students, what is a research gap? Ni nini ukiangalia kwa life, unana most people tend to think research gap ni kitu previous researchers hawakuguza. Yes, that is one of the definitions of a research.
Yes.
But the better definition is, what is the difference between reality, the reality co ground,
and
paper, and that which already exists?
Okay.
Remember, you can't replicate reality.
No, you can't.
Kuna mtu ako coach, ama D, ama mtu ako Woodley, ama Karen.
Yes.
Their realities are different. So you can't just introduce a one-fit-all policy. Kiatu kimoja akitosheki ikiwa D ama ikiwa Karen ama ikiwa Kino ama ikiwa Nyakachukwetu, it does not fit these people the same way. And that's why it is always important to listen to the mwananchi. Una feel aje tukifanya hivi, what would you think about it? So that when you having a final policy draft, it captures ile azimio ya mwananchi.
Na hii nini, hii public participation. Nakuuliza tu, kwa nini ufanyika mara mob ghetto? Sijesikia Karen kuna
It happened even in those places. But for a long time, I think usually the government is obligated to do public participation. And because most ghetto ndo kuna kuwaga na more pressing issues. You know, so if in terms of even social amenities, ni ghetto ndo hatuna maji, our design of estates ziko poor, mahosi hakuna. So you find they need to really address it. But on the revolutionary side, on the radical side, it is usually used as a hoodwink. You understand? It's just a formality. Like if one day they gazette that we are going to be in Koch, ama tunaenda Oyole, then they say we went to this social hall and we had a public participation. But there's something called a quorum. You understand? You're supposed to have not less than 10 people for a particular place. And they are supposed to be minutes taken. Maybe they just went there, show up, they didn't take any minutes.
Actually, with public participation, that is one problem that I've seen. Because in my shags, we used to have this village level.
Baraza.
Yeah. And then we do the village level, and then there's another advanced level. And whatever you said at the village, these guys just came for your rubber stamp. The fact that it was gazetted, you did a
You have to do
village.
it on that particular
Yeah,
day.
so the other one, another rubber stamp. They will end up doing the same thing they had planned. But Kibuda for Makueni County, he changed that.
Expert, yeah.
And right now, I can say that is one county that is very well run. Because even now with Mutula, he came down and said he's putting down his foot, and everything that has to do with the county will be done as per the minutes. Za mwananchi. Yes.
Right.
Yes, so as you're asking, we may have that feeling that, they had this meeting at Karen, they had this meeting at Coach, they had this meeting at Kibera. But in the end, do we document, do we follow up to see whether whatever we had said has taken the day? I have seen that Nairobi County has even made an effort to do an online public participation application. I don't remember the name, but I have it on my phone. I will put the link on the description of this. Yes. So now, as you're going through your treatment, you interacted with NHIF extensively. You have known what it means to run out of money, to go and sell property, to ask for friends for help, and all that. The government of today has a new policy that they are proposing.
Yeah.
And without going into much details of that proposal, there is what they I think one of their biggest selling points is that a cancer patient will not need to get rid of their properties anymore to take care of medication. Now, what I would ask, number one, is
that true?
Is that true? Number one. Number two, is it policy backed? And then
Evidence-based,
in the event that the treatment that I need is not available in this country, does that mean that SHIF is the social health insurance fund
for those
that they proposed?
Yes.
Will it mean that the government will also pay for my flight and my treatment in India, for example, or any other country that I need to go to?
Yes.
Then, informed by your interest in policy and research in it, do you think this is the right prescription for the health coverage of this country? What's your opinion?
Let's go back a bit. 2011, 2012, there was a huge migration of what is called medical tourism.
Yes.
A lot of people were going to India.
Yes.
And that's also when my friend first went to India. Many people in Jadudi were listening.
Yeah.
Many people also contributed for him to go to India.
Yes.
So a lot of people were going to India, but a lot of people who benefited well, adequately, were people who were covered under CSS, the civil servant scheme.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it had a good package.
Yes.
And because when you stepped to a private hospital, they didn't frown upon it because they knew, first of all, the reimbursement is prompt.
Yes.
And then the package is good. It has a security and a legitimacy.
Yes.
Remember, for a long time, many private hospitals have felt like, from even my thesis and research, they felt like NHIF is not legitimate enough.
Okay.
I'll talk about that as we move along and conclude.
Yes.
So I knew that, like I told you earlier, NHIF it was important for somebody to have it. It is still important for somebody to have a SHIF because now we've renamed it and restructured it.
You have also made it compulsory?
Yes, because we are talking about cancer.
Yes.
They have created what is called Chronic Illness and Emergency Fund.
Okay.
This is why they are saying that a cancer patient is not going to pay, but I think it's an overreach. Why do I think it's an overreach?
Okay.
Because the cost of cancer care globally is still very high.
Yes.
Even for developed countries like America or Germany.
Yes.
Or unless it's Netherlands or Luxembourg, where maybe healthcare is free.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for a lot of countries, generally medical services are very costly.
Okay.
And cancer care and medicine is costly.
Yes.
So when you say they're not gonna struggle, that's an overreach.
Okay.
And that's a policy miscommunication.
Okay.
It's gonna reduce significantly because the top 4 diseases in Kenya includes chronic illness, hypertension, diabetes, cancer.
Yeah.
So these top 3 are also lifestyle related.
Yeah.
And they are also very hard to treat.
Yes.
And they need specialized care.
Yes.
Like you need a specialized doctor for like a cardiologist for your heart problem.
Yes.
Kwa nini za moyo,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then oncolojia mtu ame specialize kwa mambo za cancer.
Yeah.
So SHIF, one thing I like about it, it wanted to reason beyond health being walking into a hospital and seeing a doctor and being attended to by a nurse.
Yes.
We realized that hospital is more social than we know.
Explain that to us.
The reason why Hosin is social is because, first of all, it depends on a relationship with a professional. The nurse will check you.
Yes.
The doctor will listen to what's the problem today? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
The transaction that you have.
Yeah.
And then moving medicine from jargon to being patient-centered. This is one thing that I've had a problem.
Real language.
Yes. And like I told you, one of the things that I'm exposing in my thesis is the idea of patient-based healthcare system. Because for a long time, the doctor ako the other side of the table, uko east side, and aku prescribe. First of all, you can't even read it.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, my brother always says it is very rude that you take a paper, you scribble something stuff I cannot read, and then you tell me to take to the next person who doesn't even look at me, just tells me to climb on a bed and drop my pants. I'm like, what?
And then there's no explanation.
Exactly.
And then because we know cancer drugs are generally supposed to kill the cancerous cells. Zile uvimbe za cancer, za saratani.
Yes.
So ideally, it also affects the good cells and the overall health ama afya ya body, ya body mzima.
Yes.
So that means that a doctor prescribing for you medicine or introducing you to a chemotherapy regimen, anafakwambie you expect certain side effects. Number moja, vomiting, very common.
Yes.
Sometimes diarrhea, sometimes nausea. You feel like you want to puke. So these things are very common. And when you get shocked about them, ulikuwa nadhani, hey, but si nilienda hosi ndio ni feel better. Mbona na feel worse?
So you want to say they don't tell the patient?
Most of them don't.
Okay.
And I want to urge all our doctors who are listening and all those who will listen, please be more compassionate. Information is our power. An empowered citizen is able to make better decisions. And this is also what we value at Power 254.
True.
Because we can't take active change when we are less empowered, when we feel like victims. And then that goes beyond the fact that health starts with you. If the doctor doesn't tell you all you need to do while you are at home, then you will be contributing, pulling away from the objective of you getting better. Amekwambia, don't take alcohol. Wewe unajua si mimi naweza enda na kamnyweso. Kumbe drug yako haiendani na hiyo nini, unaelewa? But if they didn't tell you, they didn't tell you, that it means that you will be disregarding that very particular interest. That's number one. And then number two, they also created something that is called capitation, where for a long time you say that most hospitals have not been paid, even today.
Yes. We have a very huge outstanding
backlog.
bill.
So NHIF entered an agreement with the hospitals that are accredited. So you could walk in and they would treat you, and then the NHIF would reimburse the money.
And that was misused.
Yeah, that was
It
misused.
was heavily abused. Because even what the justification they used to bring in the social health insurance fund was from a story that was done by NTV, an expose of a hospital that was doing fake operations and
charging money.
And I know of many hospitals that have been generally just built out of overbilling NHIF. I have heard of cases where someone goes to a hospital, talks to the hospital owner, he's admitted on paper, he goes home, he's admitted on paper,
but not there. He's not
given
a patient.
He's given some 2,000 shillings to drink that day. And then the following day or 2 days later, he comes back They bill 25,000.
Yeah.
The owner of the hospital is left with 10,000. The other guy now is given his 13,000 now to go piga sherehe properly. So NHIF, without even going into many details, we know very well it was heavily abused. And the rot began with the top management.
MOH.
The top management was misusing, government hospitals were misusing, then it spread.
Trickle down to citizens.
What will be the movement
From NHIF to SHIF?
NHIF to SHIF?
First of all, digitizing, that is going to reduce that loophole. Digitizing means, for example, for a long time, you needed to, when a doctor writes for you, let's say, go do an MRI scan.
Yes.
You had to go to NHIF in community, Nairobi.
Yeah.
No authorized, no rudi tena or pige your scan. So if they digitize, they have a centralized system where most of these queries can be handled online without the patient having to go to NHIF.
Okay.
Juu watu wengi wanajua NHIF ukuaga nini. Ni ngori hapo. Unaweza enda hapo the whole day na hata ujaona mse, you know.
Hata kuongeza tu mtoi wako kwa ile kadi yako
beneficiary, which is supposed to be very easy. You are supposed to simply scan the birth certificate
using
your phone.
Yeah.
Upload it kwa portal, wait for 2-3 working days
for verification.
Approve it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I hate about government agency, and this is hate, a very strong word.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes hate is needed amongst our citizens. You need to be angry enough.
True.
So that you know that we need to change something.
Yes.
We need to change a culture.
Yeah.
The culture of dysfunction, because corruption thrives when there is dysfunction.
And silence.
Yes, and silence.
Yes.
When you feel like you are so powerless and hauna voice,
yeah,
and you feel like I only have to bribe say NHIF ndo nipate service, then you're already disenfranchised as a person, as a citizen.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So if you know that this service, I'm supposed to get it, I'm supposed to pay this amount of fee, and that's just it.
Yeah.
So if we digitize our healthcare system, it means that a huge dysfunction is going to be reduced, and then there's going to be more accountability. You understand?
Now, in the midst of this, sometime last year they launched this community health workers.
They, in mostly counties, yes.
Yes. Actually, not mostly, all counties have them. I have been to Shags. For me, when I want to test whether systems are working, I go to Shags.
Yes, that's very true. Even
I have been to Shags and I see that they have smartphones. They have been equipped with smartphones. They are taking the records of everyone in the village. And that is even coming to your home.
Yes.
Now, we are talking of now again digitizing healthcare from the SHIF side of it, now from the top coming down. Are we saying that whatever will be captured on the mobile phones will also be speaking to a system that is managing the hospitals at the ground level?
That is if we do it right, because we are moving towards being data-driven in our healthcare provision of services.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I'm very, very passionate about in my thesis.
Okay.
By the way, for those who do not know, my thesis is about evaluating accessibility to primary healthcare in prevention of cancer care.
So just dive into that a little bit and expound to us.
So because for a long time we've always been told prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
And preventive medicine does reduce the cost of medicine, the cost of medical service significantly.
Yeah.
And a huge part of cancer burden comes because most of the time we get diagnosed too late.
Yeah.
So when you get diagnosed too late, obviously even the drugs and the specialty you need is going to jump up significantly.
Yes.
So if we could have a more responsive primary healthcare, and it is accessible, it is affordable, and then it is responsive. What do I mean by responsive? It means that if I am covered by SHIF and I walk into any hospital, then I'm able to get the services that I require without being told, here to cover, ama hii kuja siku ingine, ama hakuna service kai hiyo hapa.
Daktari wa hii hayupo.
Unaelewa? So if we sort, because if we find something early, chances of saving this patient also goes higher.
True.
Yeah. And that depends, it reflects on the status or the state of our primary healthcare. What is primary healthcare? the simplest way kwa mtu wa kaida kuelewa
Yes.
ni, for example, you see the way we have levels of unasikia level 5, level 6, na pale mtani kuna ka dispensary.
Yes, yes.
So the idea of a referral system is, if I feel like I have a headache, niende kwa dispensary pale. Maybe they give me paracetamol.
Yes.
It cool down fever, and then the next day it's feel poor. They refer me to the next level of a hospital.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That's number one way of looking. You are supposed to
Be referred.
be referred until a moment where maybe they feel, now you need a special doctor, not just a general practitioner.
Yes,
That's number
yes,
one.
yes.
Number two is because diseases are caused by agents.
Yeah.
So we need to have a public department of epidemics. Wangalie situation ya sanitation inakuagaji mtaa. Maji inakuaga ukweli. Unaelewa? Hii place, maybe places like Lamu that have had mining activities.
Yes, yes.
Were there monitoring and evaluation to determine if there was toxic release of materials into the farms.
Yes.
And also, like recently in my thesis, I was doing a cross-sectional study of cancer cases in most Mount Kenya counties.
Right.
You realize there is an influx of cancer of ENT ni ear, nose and throat.
Yes.
Kuna gastric cancer za tumbo.
Right.
And then bowel cancer,
Okay.
the colon cancer.
Okay.
Why? Because these counties are our food basket.
Okay.
They are agricultural based.
Yes.
And agriculture is driven by agrochemicals.
Okay.
So one of my hypotheses is, could it be that agrochemicals is contributing to this influx of saratani kukuja mingi kwa hizi counties? Because it's the same thing you find in Kericho. It's the same thing you find in Trans Nzoia.
All right.
You understand? It's the same thing you find in Migori, which is having sugarcane. It also have a gold mine somewhere.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand.
So where we have a lot of farming.
Yes, yes.
So
ENT is very common.
we are talking of the farm appliances.
Yes.
So because of the intensity of farming, we are using more chemicals, and we are ending up with the occupants of those areas also inhaling
Are
them.
more exposed. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
This is an eye-opener.
Yes. So if we have an evidence-based healthcare system, it means we can draw from data.
Yes.
But not just data, because I always have a problem when people just shout data. We are in a data-driven economy, and we don't listen to the common mwananchi. Who tells us there's no water in this place?
Yes.
A week can go, you don't have water. And then water is an essential.
Yeah.
We declared water as part of a core value in our global world in 2000 when they are declaring SDGs.
Yes.
Not SDGs, MDGs.
The Millennium Development Goals. Yes.
Today we are moving towards SDGs.
SDGs, yes.
So we have expanded MDGs to include some basic needs that we are still struggling with mtaani.
Yeah.
Something like water, something like power. Like imagine a Kenya can go a week na hakuna stima in some places.
Yeah,
so
it happens.
SHIF comes in because now it's going on. I like that we are moving towards what is called telemedicine. It's just a combination of two words. Telephone, telephone, and medicine.
Yes.
So it means that if I have a text message and I am a CHW, sisi kwetu tunawaita nyamrerwa. Ni wale manases wa nyumbani, maybe kukiwa na an emergency pregnancy, a mother is expectant. Na kuna kale kamadhi. So anakuja anamsort alafu wanampeleka OC wanafanya postnatal care.
Yes.
Because they come in very handy. Most of our counties are still not very open or networked vizuri, roads are still not very good.
Yes.
So unapata CHWs wanakuwa on the rescue sana.
Yeah.
And then also during COVID, there was very little contact and most counties relied on CHWs to deliver medicine. For example, those who were affected by HIV who needed more prescription every other time.
Yes.
So they used to take this medicine to them. So if I send a text and let's say describe the symptoms of a patient that I'm always seeing.
Yeah.
A data mining or machine learning software can scrap this data from this SMS.
Yes.
And it can create a database so that in a particular area, it can create a data because you realize that in a particular area, there are certain instances, like in Nyanza, malaria is very common.
So there will be common symptoms.
Yes.
Common words. Some words will be recurring.
And that's how we develop something that is responsive to our Kenyan context.
All right.
You understand?
Yes.
Iko kwa mtaani.
Yeah.
We know it, we live it, it's our lived experience.
Yes,
And not
yes.
just something that was declared by WHO
Yeah.
that when this symptom presents itself, do this.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
While that is a protocol, we also have our own realities and how diseases affect us locally.
Yeah.
That's number 3. Number 4,
Mm-hmm.
I also like that SHIF is going to try, which I don't agree with the approach, because currently we have only 19% public insurance, public and private insurance penetration. What do I
Yes.
mean by that? The number of people that have insurance in our country is only a paltry of 19%.
What?
Yes.
And that is even after the effort to
Yes.
include the Linda
Informal,
Mama,
the Linda Mama, all
the
that.
Boda guys.
Yes.
I am now at that level of the unemployed who are contributing 500. There has been this graduation thing. I think it is a whole topic that I wouldn't want us to dive into right now. But the only thing that is a little bit slippery for me is when they say that it is compulsory. I say, okay, then for someone who has no income, they say the government is going to cater for that cost. I say again, okay, a good sales pitch. But then I come down to this, the efficiency of it. As you have said, if we are especially now focusing on cancer patients, if you're saying that you're going to be covering their treatment comprehensively, it is an overshoot. Are you foreseeing a position where maybe we need to expand our facilities more? Currently, we are dealing with doctors who are on strike.
Yeah.
We still struggle as a country to have enough resources in these hospitals, because when deals are done to bring the equipment that is supposed to be happening, as you're saying, we used to have this equipment at Kenyatta that doesn't work. Do you think that we are going to deliver really for cancer patients, or are we selling a white elephant?
It's a white elephant for me. But I'd also want to not be overly critical with the government and give them a benefit of doubt. This is our country at the end of the day.
We wish for it to succeed,
prosper
actually.
and succeed.
Yes.
So one thing that I hate about being there, first of all, insurance premium subscription can be having 2 tiers. We have the Kitambo NHIF was involuntary, which means you needed to. It was voluntary.
Yes, yes.
You needed to opt in for it.
Yes.
But now they're saying it's going to be compulsory. And I think during People's Dialogues Festival, we were asking ourselves, is it a crime or is it illegal to not subscribe to SHIF? Is it going to be illegal? I think that's one of the things that we would need to ask James during Sharia Drive.
Yes.
So that we can understand how are they going to enforce it. And this is also something about public policy enforcement. How practical is it? You understand? Kwa watu wa bodaboda, do they have the data that they can say this person usually has a monthly average income of this amount? And therefore, if we cap it, because they're saying it's going to be capped at 2.7%, and you find that people who are earning more than 100,000 are going to be feeling the weight the most.
True.
Yes. So the idea is
actually the mark is it changes from 50,000.
From 50, yes.
So
they're saying that if I think they want to spread the weight so that the people who are low income earners, wale watu wana mshahara ama mpato za chini, they can feel lesser weight, while those people who are at least getting some better income can shoulder in the weight. So there's a balance, there's a give and take. I understand that nobility, but I wonder how are they going to force people, particularly most people who struggle with, unajua kuna watu wenye wanasemaga area fadhali watoi wangu wa kule lakini wasiende osi. I've interviewed people and they're telling me I'd rather nipate unga watoi wangu wa kule lakini nisikue na NHIF. Because they have not moved towards NHIF being a priority in their life. Why does that happen? Because for a long time they have sort of realized that NHIF only can take you to an extent. And yet they say that NHIF is supposed to be comprehensive.
Yes.
Comprehensive ni kizungu tu mingi. Inafaa ikukava vizuri. Unaelewa?
Yani in other words, ufai kulipia kutibiwa.
Ufai kulipiwa kutibia yet you already contributed NHIF
Yes.
ama SHIF.
But I think I understand what you're talking about. Mzazi kusema ili watu ya kule. Hata mimi.
Unaelewa?
NHIF mishaini fail. Tena
See not once.
And when you need it most.
When I needed it the most.
Yeah.
Yani paka nikatoanga kichwa yangu huko.
Yeah.
Yani hata hiyo ni kitu siwezi enda ati leo nikakuwa na ngori.
We'd consider it.
Stay consider. Hata kama iko hapo kunisaidia.
It's true. It's true. And that's why I'm skeptical. And I think as we are looking at also winding up the conversation, personally, first of all, ni kusema kwanza asante for the much that you have done.
Yeah.
Na nataka utuchanue na kitu ingine. Kuna inchi zenye zimeachieve universal healthcare.
Yeah.
Comparatively na hii SHIF yenye inakuwa nini proposed. Ni inchi gani zenye unaweza point out useme hebu study ya wale na study ya wale uone vile waliifanya na tuangalie, because I think going forward you will be our SHIF consultant. Yeah, tutakuwa tunaikalia chini because I know it will. Currently NHIF imekuwa na shida, hawajasort hizo shida, wanataka kushift hiyo nini,
just push the burden down the rug.
So that means some underlying problems will come and bite us in the back. What countries do you think we can
borrow
comparatively borrow from?
I think SHIF was borrowed heavily on American public
Obamacare.
Not just Obamacare. There's what we call Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay.
Medicare is the general insurance for the general population, and then Medicaid is mostly for the vulnerable, the veterans, the old.
Okay.
Which I think when Professor Nyong'o was in the Ministry of Health, I think that's when we wrote the strategic healthcare plan for Kenya. It's supposed to run all the way to 2035.
Okay.
So
SHIF is not just
no, it's not a recent
manufacturing
thing.
of now.
It's not.
Okay.
It has been, in fact, a lot of people have been fighting it.
Yeah.
It's particularly those people who have been benefiting from NHIF.
I'm told they are in courts and then they go place a case in court
to buy it.
And then come back to Gava and tell them mkiongea vizuri, even the president mentioned mkiongea vizuri we withdraw the cases.
Yes.
Imagine
so you
that.
find that it's also what they created, because we are realizing that they're in general population we have the person who we call, most of us call them breadwinners.
Yes.
So huyu ndo anaweza kuwa buda ama anaweza kuwa mother, and then they are beneficiaries watoi wenye bado wajafikia ile miaka ya withdraw from benefiting from the scheme.
Yes.
And then we have, within this, we have children, we have older people who have worked, they've contributed to NSSF.
Yes.
So wanafaa wapate malipo ya uzeeni.
Yeah.
And then we have those who are vulnerable. That means those whose immunity are incompromised.
Yes.
And then chronic illness. The reason why we call it chronic illness ni kwa sababu huwa haiponi. It keeps on going on. It can be lifelong.
Yes.
Watu kama sickle cell, hypertension, ni kitu utaishi nayo.
Yeah.
There's no day utafanya the day that you're now cured.
Yeah.
There might be an exceptional case, but most of the time you find yourself living with it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So that means every other day, ama every other week, ama every other month, kuna drug una take.
Yeah.
Kuna ka clinic unaenda.
Yeah.
Unaelewa? Ninapata, sometimes you are working for medicine. Like I even right now, sometimes I feel like I'm working for my health.
Okay.
Because unapata do natumia kwa health.
Yeah.
Ni mob.
Yeah.
And because the cancer came back in 2022, I'm still actively on treatment. So unapata, this is usually there's a back and forth.
Yes.
So I like that they created the tiers, and also recognizing that a huge burden of healthcare goes to chronic illness na emergencies. Emergency ni kama vile ulikuwa kwa ngori, ujue hata utazame wapi. Huwezi call CJ pia yeye kuna ngori zake. Unaelewa? So you actually right that moment you really need SHIF to come through for you.
Yes.
You understand? So I hope they actually hold up to the end of their bargain. I hope they cure mostly corruption at the Ministry of Health.
That is our bigger
because
problem.
if there is no funds, no matter how good the policy looks, we will not have anything to service this medical.
Very true.
So I think that American system is good, and it also shows us that no matter how good a policy is, we need room for self-improvement, and we cannot do that without honesty. Kenyans are not known to be very honest people.
Yes.
We like shortcut. We like a lot of, but sometimes it's systemic because we feel we have no any other way to do so. I like the Norwegian. Norway, I think it's free all the way up.
Yes.
Free.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Indian because it's hybrid. India has a federal system.
Yeah.
I like the Nigerian one, but Nigeria, it's a worse case than us.
Yeah.
But if they could implement it well,
Yes.
it would also reflect the kind of goals we have with our own SHIF.
So what you're saying is that on paper we have a good plan.
A good plan.
There's an implementation issue as we wind up that has come up.
And behavior change amongst our citizens.
Yeah.
Now, at the implementation level, it looks like we are going back to the same old thing of high-class theft, because it is said, and I don't know how true that is, that only 7 companies have been selected to implement SHIF on behalf of the government. Why are we paying for a public? We are using public money to give private companies work to implement a government policy. Really?
It's understandable because it comes under private-public participation,
right,
or partnership.
What are the roles of these private entities?
The role is because, one, they have an infrastructure and they have what is called a cultural resource. They have run insurance for a longer period of time.
Okay.
And because this SHIF is almost seeking to bridge the difference between public insurance and private insurance. So who is better to benchmark or pilot it? What I might have a problem is the transparency in it and the integrity involved in that.
Yes.
In that tendering, that why did they select this particular company?
Yes.
But it's a noble idea.
As with everything else, we always say the devil is in the detail.
Yeah.
And we will keep vigilance as to Power 254 and Power Radio.
And we ask you to do
Omondi
so.
Ochuka will be our consultant to be seeing where are we succeeding, where are we failing, so that we also hold the government accountable for matters that they are charging us for. That way, at least, we get a progression. Omondi Ochuka, so thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. As we wind up, I would like you to give us a glimpse of the future, because you are a researcher, you are a son of a researcher, and a son also of a teacher, which means you come across a lot of information.
Right.
How does the future look for cancer patients under the SHIF?
The future is very positive, in my opinion.
Yes.
When we came up, there were very few people who we knew as survivors past 1 year.
Yes.
Or even a few months. But now we are having many. Now I'm clocking 12 years.
Hey, congratulations.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that means even treatment modalities that are coming up through research are also expanding the scope. The game is changing real quick.
Yes.
We are moving towards non-invasive cancer treatment, where you sometimes don't even have to do surgery.
Okay.
I went to India, did a keyhole surgery. They put a very tiny scar.
Okay.
And then put a camera on Angalia. There's very little surgery to it. So there's more hope as research continues to expand.
True.
And if you can keep accountable SHIF and implement it to the spirit of it and leave room for our self-improvement, our self-honesty, self-integrity, then we have something good in the future. And I hope the government is going to be proactive with it.
Yes.
I hope our citizens are going to ask hard questions.
Yes.
And I hope that you can continue, even as you continue to hope for the future.
Yeah.
At personal level, keep hope.
Yes.
And this is our hope for you. This is our ask from you.
Yeah.
We really hope that you can actually have a better future than it has been for the past.
True.
Yes.
We deserve it as Kenyans. I think
Yes,
we
we
have been through a lot.
Yes, we do.
From leadership to everything else. Sometimes we also maybe highlight more of what is not happening, but there are also
Things
some
that are
hope.
happening.
And when we see someone who has survived cancer for 12 years and putting out such good music, definitely we will find a way of making this music more available to all our listeners and people who follow us. Thank you for sharing your journey. We are privileged that you have been part of our program. And I take it back to our main host.
Yeah. Kamakawa, the gift of Gab on Power Radio.
Yes,
mgeni wetu hapa Ochuka Omondi leo ametupeleka na rada.
Yeah.
I hope mmefaidika
sana
from the conversation.
Yeah.
Shukran sana, imekuwa real.
Shukuru sana mazee. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be keeping up it locked here.
Yeah, tutakuita tena unajua bado tumeongelea tu album mbili bado 13.
Tuko na zingine 13 bado za kuongea.
Msisahau show ni Gift of Gab hapa, it's more than the music.
Yes sir.
Na imekuwa real. Real hata mimi nimelan a lot.
Yeah.
Sijui kwako imekuaje?
Manze kwangu imekuwa
tumelan kwetu professor kweli.
I'm not a professor yet but soon, very soon.
Kuna kitu tumelan kwetu kweli? Ama ni watu unatupeleka na rada tu. I hope umefaidika pia.
Umefaidika sana because this is an expression of us. But it's also a co-learning space.
Sasa tunafunga na tunashukuru pia Bena fundi wa mitambo.
Yes, our producer Bernard. Thank you so much for this. Na Ochuka again, thank you so much. I think my biggest lesson yangu leo ni all the answers that we are looking for, they live inside of us. And if you read the good religious book that says, he who is inside you is greater than who is outside you. It means if you gather that courage to forge ahead and ujitafutie solutions from within. We have just seen someone who really got their solutions from introspecting. And njia yake ilikuwa art. Njia yako maybe si art, itakuwa ingine. Njia yako inaweza kuwa ni kubonga na msee. At Power Radio and Power 254, we encourage these things. Kwa Gift of Gab, it is the art of expression. Thank you for expressing yourself. And we hope to keep this platform open for more people to do that.
All right.
So until next Saturday.
Yes, cheers. Have a lovely weekend. Stay responsible. Adios.
Yes.
Be safe.
For all the links concerning this episode, we'll put it on the description. Then for every question that you have, zieke hapo kwa comments. Then Omondi will be around. He will respond
to all of them. Yes.
So how Gift of Gab on Power Radio. Tune in, power up. Paka next Saturday. Pamoja.
Adios.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
I started living when I died. Little stigma, narrow breath as I cried. Surgical neon lights walks my inner sentinel. I've been telling you, close knuckle, head and nail. I've been telling you of a war unwritten on the page. I died half a god when you left. Nightmares prevailed. I couldn't ever look back. Salted rain, bubble love and setbacks. Wooden heart and stone cold. I miss the energy blowing on my face, sun shining. You spark my inner key. I died of a god, waiting in vain. Dodge, drip, smooth life, folding my life on the threads. I've been saying this, love a little bigger than the graves will ever ditch. Stay a little longer on the mirror / image. Siku nimedrawn kwa lifeguard, ilikuwa body laid, damu yako ina paint. Jeneza kaburini, nyikani ulinitia kilemba kafara kulandini, mesha miguu futi 6 mirefu.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and